of us. If you're us, it's been 5 minutes out of stream, and now we're back with some hot matches. Are you ready for this, Mojo?
Oh, I am so excited. We've got a great first match coming at you. I believe we're beginning with Mr. Python versus Mick.
Yeah, this is a crazy one. Both of these players are insane. They're both top 200 legend right now, and they're going to face each other round one. Just first thing, starting it hot.
Yeah, this
Um,
is really exciting, and these decks are looking really cool too. We've got two control warriors in this match.
yes. Do we know the ban right now?
I believe we do. Mr. Python has banned Mick's Quest Shaman,
Ooh.
and Mick has banned Mr. Python's Soul Demon Hunter.
So we're not going to see Quest Shaman today, nor are we going to see Soul DH. Is Soul DH a deck again?
Apparently, I've seen a lot of new Demon Hunter lists. People are experimenting since the Oganoth nerf. The class has opened up. There's things like Arhat has titled Momentum Demon Hunter has become quite popular, as well as a sort of Jace Fell spells build. But I haven't seen the Souls yet, so I was excited to see the Soul Fragment Demon Hunter. Alas, it has been banned.
Yeah. So we do have it banned. They're just having a few bugs with friends list, and as soon as they're ready to start, we will begin. So I kind of want to ask you about some of these decks. So let me ask you, have you been playing Control Warrior as of recent? And also, can you take a quick look with me? Mr. Python brought Big Warrior.
Yeah, I was just looking at this. I initially scrolled through the list very quickly, saw, Bulwark of Azzinoth, Heavy Plate, and went, oh, Control Warrior, of course. But the more I scroll down this list, there are some spicy, spicy minions in here. We've got Cowardly Grunts, which are apparently a 6 mana 6/2 with Death Rattle, summon a minion from your deck. And topping out at things like Moarg, Forge Fiend, Scrapyard Colossus. These are some big, big minions in here.
Right. Um, this is a really interesting case. I don't know. And you can play Nas. The thing is, an 8/8 for 7 that sometimes comes out of your Cowardly Grunt or Commencement, it's not that bad.
Oh, that sounds pretty good, honestly. I think that may be the point of bringing the deck in something like a Nuzzdorfer tournament. If you're forced to run random 8/8, you might as well summon it for free.
Yeah. And can we see that Provoke there? Just a fun spell, new card. I think it's one of the cards that's trying to push this new Big Warrior. We don't see the new Warrior Legendary, which I think everyone forgets that card exists. Huh, weird. So we're waiting for Mick to be able to see Mr. Python.
Yeah, unfortunate, we get friendsless bugs from time to time, but will hopefully all be sorted soon.
Yeah. I've messaged Mick asking him to restart BattleNet because sometimes you need to have both players do that. Um, yeah, friends list has been really bad as of late. So we're going to have to see what is going on and can we get this on the road as soon as possible. Now, I have a very weird question. What is this priest list? There's a Nozdormu, a Cyrella, a Flesh Giant. It's the Devouring Plague Flesh Giant list, but it plays Cabal Acolyte. I don't know. I understand this list.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I do either. It's very interesting. You have Cabal Acolyte, but you don't have the Cabal Acolyte combo that you normally have with Wave of Apathy. That has just been cut from the list. So it's trending towards a control priest. It seems like almost just a discover cards priest with old Devouring Plague Flesh Giant package from Forge and the
Yes.
Barons. So we'll just see how this goes for Mick. I don't know that this is a deck that can be played fast.
Yeah. It's not as bad as some of the others, but if you need to decide what spell you want to get, you're going to lose. Especially with Sethek.
I think like all Nozstone tournament decks, you're going to have to be acting off of mostly impulse. You really don't have time to think about your moves. You got to go with the first thing that looks good.
Yeah, I agree. Talking to them to make sure they were able to challenge each other. Um, just trying to get Python and Mick to play. Again, we apologize for the delay. It is just mostly Hearthstone's client is not right now. BattleNet is awful.
It is.
Yeah. Um, weird.
We'll take the Masters Tour qualifier rules and just flip a coin.
I think the best solution is to ask them to delete each other and re-add and see if it works. Because that has been one of Hat's suggestions when it happens. Um, yeah, this is. I don't think people realize how bad for content the friendsless bug is. Just us waiting here, but that being said, in the middle, we can talk about some of the fun decks. What have you been having fun with recently, Mojo?
Oh, we can. Well, I having a lot of fun just playing Hearthstone recently. I think that all the decks that are currently viable are really fun, but my favorite has got to be Aggro Shadow Priest. I've always been a Face Hunter player. This is just a style of deck that really speaks to me, and one of the newer builds that I've really been loving. Zero drops, Desk Imps, and Murloc.
Ooh.
Tiny Fins totally won me my last THL match.
Do you play the 4 mana 3/6 guy that transforms them into 4/4s?
Oh, I sure do.
Oh, that's a really interesting. What's his
Yeah,
name?
turn 3, Disciplinarian Gandling. If you can coin him out on 3 with a Desk Imp or a Murloc Tiny Fin or something, 3/6 and 4/4 really early in the game.
Yeah.
It's a must-kill target, a really strong threat, and I think a good ladder deck too. You can also
Huh.
just play your zero-cost minions on turn 1.
That's crazy. Let me see if it. That is so weird. I don't know. I'm trying to solve the problem here, but this is harder than usual. Um, so a question here about the priest. A lot of them are playing the Mankrik Thrive in Shadows combo, right? Do you think that's a worth inclusion in Shadow Priest?
Yeah, it totally is. I think that Thrive in the Shadows with Mankrik is a great combo. Thrive in the Shadows also really useful in this version of the build, right? You're running Void Shards to sort of get over the top at the end with the 4 damage to face, and then also Raise Deads, right? So Thrive in the Shadows is not just dead in your hand if you haven't played
Right.
Mankrik. You can find it generate value with Raise Dead or generate face damage with Void Shard. This was one of the like original builds of the deck, I believe. This was like the first
Mm-hmm.
build that started to take over ladder before people started throwing in things like disciplinarian gambling. So
Sure.
it's tried and true, and I think that Thrive in the Shadows really works well.
Nice. I like
A
Thrive
deck
in
with a
the
low curve and a void touched attendant.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
Void Touch Attendant is one of the biggest surprises to me from this set. That card is insane. It's like the reason why you played the deck, right?
Yeah, and it's really flexible. If you can play a void touch attendant on turn one, you can really start to snowball face damage. It's hard to kill with a 1/3 body. You can buff it up, but you can also hold it, save it until later in the game when you have a more full board, and then drop it for what's essentially just damage from hand.
Yeah, I've had a priest with basically no board, just one or two 1/1s, deal more than 10 damage to me just with tour guide, ping, and then the 4 mana spell and void touch. It's kind of crazy. You don't
Yeah,
expect priests to play aggro.
you get really, really surprising amounts of burst damage out of it from just 1/1s and 2/2s and things like that. And the hero power often works. You just throw it face. It's really good sometimes into warlocks. Void Touch Attendant specifically, it'll make them damage themselves for more when they tap and things like that. So fun.
Okay, we're still dealing with the technical difficulties of having them add each other. Um, so Python is trying to add Mick again and see if that works. And
Yeah, this is a sort of unusually long one. Hopefully, it'll get resolved.
yeah, we're hoping it gets done soon. I can see both of them, which makes this really weird for me because I know both of them are online. I know both of them can start playing at any moment.
Yeah, I actually have them both too.
Like if we were playing them, we would be fine. There's no issue there. But somehow both of them cannot get the other one ready. I don't know what's going on with the friends list bug. I don't know if you need to clear some people out. I really don't know what is the solution there.
It was said when these bugs started to happen that having a lower amount of people on your friends list does often work, but as most THL players know, that's hard. It's hard to remove THL players.
Yeah,
You're just gonna play again. So
especially when there's people who quit that you have a good relationship with. It's like if they ever come back to the game, I kind of want to know that they came back. I don't want to just delete them. What if they, I don't know, I like them. Why would I delete someone who I hope comes back one day?
I have a hard time deleting friends.
Yeah.
I don't do it very often, and I probably get bugs because of it.
Yes. Yeah. I'm pretty sure just looking at my friends list while we wait, I'm pretty sure there's people I could delete here. Um,
No longer remember someone you don't know who they are. Typically a good sign.
yeah. We're going to move to another match while they're waiting. Um, we're going to go to a match that is happening. So Sharmo's going to help them. We're going to move to, let me take a look here. We're going to do a quick hop to Dabs versus T-Stew. So we're going to go watch Dabs. Now I'll fix the screen. In the meanwhile, let us put you watch Dabs versus T-Stew. While I'm fixing the screen, Mojo, I don't know if you have them added, but in the meanwhile, I'll tell what is happening. We have a really quick quest mage versus the shaman.
I can get them online.
Um, Now, it's so hard to cast this, especially at this start where we had issues and we're hopping in the middle. But the mage is looking so favored right now. Um, I can't see the shaman's hand, but he needs to deal 30 damage in a turn. He hasn't finished the quest. I don't know that the shaman can make it,
Typically, that's a pretty hard thing to do, 30 damage in one turn.
right? Well, not right now in Hearthstone, but yes, usually it is. I would agree with you.
Some people can do it.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Um, Now we have in Canterslow refreshing spring water, and now Netherwind Portal played. I just want to note you can actually play Noz and Spellmage as long as you don't play Apexis. Apexis becomes pretty bad in that case.
True,
Um,
it does slightly reduce the value of your refreshing spring water, but not enough so that you don't want to play it.
I did just message Dabs just to confirm to him that his match is on stream. And in the meanwhile, I will find out T2 Stag to add him and get him here. I apologize for the issues. This is Nozstone, which makes everything even harder, and we have friends list, making our life harder. It is
Yeah,
2-0
I
right
finally
now.
hopped in now. I'm seeing what's going on. We have Abs has just played out Nozdorma the Eternal as a 7 mana 8/8. He's still in a really bad position. All his minions are frozen. Finally plays the Quest Warp, but can he get anything off of it before Dabs gets enough card draw to finish him off?
Yeah, this is not looking good. We can't see Tisu's cards yet, but the time is up, and he needs something like a bunny here.
Oh, charged call?
This is
Oh, neither
over.
of those have taunt.
No. He needed a bunny with poison, something with taunt. The refreshing spring water was probably game. And that is, I believe, it. I think we've arrived just at the end.
Yeah, that should actually be the series win for Dabs. Was already up 2-0. That's going to be a 3-0 Dabs over T-Stew.
Yeah, and we are going to the next game in this series. So, just so everyone knows, we are going to do Dabs' game. Um, we'll stick to his second game. So we actually have a full game for Dabs on stream. The next game is Dabs versus Naturia Beast. So I do have Geranium added. I will let Geranium know that he's on stream. Now, can we take a quick look at the classes being brought so I can prepare the stream while we're chatting here?
Yeah, absolutely we can. So Geranium Battle, Naturia Beast on your screens potentially, has brought Rogue, Warlock, Shaman, and Paladin. This rogue is a poison rogue. That's something we've been seeing a lot more recently. Swine Tusk Shanks and self-sharpening swords back in the metagame. The Warlock is not quite D6 Warlock. It is Handlock with the quest,
Hmm,
as is probably expected. There is a Doomhammer Elemental Shaman, Dranium,
interesting.
as well as the newer Stealth Secret build of Paladin.
Ooh, he did bring stealth. That's actually a very well suited deck for this format because it's mostly one card per turn, right?
Yeah, it's not the hardest of decks to pilot, especially for a player like Dranium Battle. You can sort of just play out as many minions as you can on curve, keep them stealth as long as you can, slam a Blessing of Authority, face.
Yeah. Now, what is Dabs bringing? Do you know? Mojo, can you hear me?
Oops, sorry, I didn't catch that.
No worries. What does Dabs have? Do you know?
Yes, so Dabs has brought a Quest Shaman, a
Hmm.
Quest Demon Hunter,
Ooh,
what I believe is a Shadow Priest, and then the Quest Mage that we just saw at the end there.
interesting. So we're going to see quite a different lineup. There's not too much of an intersection. A lot of aggression, but that's about it.
Very, very, very excited to see this Quest Demon Hunter. This is a big new deck, something a lot of people have been playing. May not be maybe the most competitively viable deck, but it's a very fun one. The goal is to kill someone with a very large Lion's Frenzy attack, as well as a board full of 0 mana Ironbound brutes.
Yeah. We are queuing in for the first game. We'll bring you the bands were the Paladin and the Priest. So this is Noz. Everything has to be super fast. So we start with Geranium Battle versus Naturia Beast.
Yeah, here we go. So it looks like it's going to be uh Abs has brought the Quest Demon Hunter for his first game, and Geranium Battle has the Poison Rogue.
Yeah. Now we're going to spec Geranium here. Okay, so Quest Demon Hunter is a really interesting choice here because Quest Demon Hunter is a deck that can you actually play it fast? That's what I'm wondering.
Probably not. It's going to take a lot of really, really smart piloting from Dabs. This is a deck that's literally built around playing as many cards a turn as possible. Things like acrobatics, quest reward, all these animations are going to be really tough to get in time. So looking like probably playing out all his cards this turn. Tusk Piercer and Sigil of Alacrity will go in.
Yeah, just looking for
Really
the
smart getting the attack off with the Tusk Piercer. Lets the Death Rattle trigger next turn. So you're guaranteed to draw one. You'll draw another from Sigil of Alacrity. You can trade in the Persistent Peddler to draw another, and then draw a fourth from the Tusk Piercer. So this should be guaranteed stage 1 quest completion for only 1 mana. Dabs next turn.
Yeah, the interesting part is you don't even need the Alacrity, right? I think you don't need it at least. I would need to check
You
my
don't
card.
actually, because you can then trade the Peddler back in.
Yeah, the tradable effect is so good in this quest. I didn't realize this when I was evaluating the quest.
It's really, really powerful, and especially the combo that people have come up with Tusk Piercer and one of Persistent Peddler. I don't know if he has one or two. I will check that right now. But drawing those Persistent Peddlers, yeah, just the one of copy. You always trade it back in. You almost never play it as a body. But let's look at what Geranium Battle's got going on.
Yeah, Geranium has the weapon. He can start doing stuff if he wants to. Um, it's an
It's the
interesting
turn to play
position.
it.
He does
And he's
get the
gonna
weapon.
start smacking face. This is the weapon. It's not a Swine Tusk Shank. That's the weapon you sometimes prefer, but you can start putting buffs on this, and you really wow. Okay, this is really interesting. Poison Rogue struggles very hard with removing minions, and Dabs has just played out
Yes.
Kane Sun Fury.
Yeah, just getting that minion out, using it as a tool to hit his opponent in the face. Now his opponent has a lot of tools to draw right now. He can just go with Swindle. He can go with Cutting Class, get a lot of cards in his hand, and make
Yeah,
his plan for this game.
I believe got both Cutting Class and Swindle off on the same turn. Oh, Prep, does he get the Garrote off as well? He does, yeah. So Geranium Prep Garrote at the end of that turn 2 is going to shuffle those bleeds into the deck and start dealing lots of damage to Dabs on these draws.
Yeah, Garrote feels so insane. Ooh, we might just see a glide here. Is this going to be a glide turn? Not a
I
glide.
don't think it's a glide turn. I think he's trying as hard as he can to complete this stage of the quest, but I don't think he's going to get it in time. He can't play the Irebound route either. Does get the attacks off. Does he get the attack with the face as his turn is just running out?
Yeah,
He does.
there's
Okay, so lots of face damage, putting a lot of pressure on Geranium.
right, but there wasn't enough time to do what he wanted to do. In the meanwhile, Geranium just trades, and how is Geranium going to put pressure? Is he just going to cut shadows and hide? He needs to deal with this somehow. And SI7 Distortion going face and passing
Oh,
his turn.
I feel like we could have spent more mana this turn. Maybe we sort of a little while to make the decision with the tradable card. Did get the extortion off, which is good, but that's a tempo Irebound brute. This is a 7/8 taunt.
Yes.
Geranium will have a tough time with taunts.
Now, the way he can go through it is if he's playing Coerce, and I don't have time to check this. If he's playing Coerce, there's a way he can get through it. He is playing one Coerce, so he could Secret Passage into it. That's the
He
dream
does have
scenario.
one copy of Coerce on the deck.
But there
Just
are
one
other ways.
copy. Pull the trigger on secret passage a little late in the turn. We'll see if he finds the course. Does find the course. It's the last card drawn. I don't know if he got it off in time. Gets the wicked stab onto
Does.
Kane, and the coerce goes down too. Oh, this is a huge secret passage from Geranium Battle.
Now, the thing that I'm thinking of is what is going to happen to this Ironbound Brute? Because we might see two of them come down. If you glide, there's going to be a lot of bleeds coming into play. But I think you need to start with Spectral Sight and Acrobatics and just get cards down and see how much you can draw to get both brutes, get stuff down. There's not enough time.
Not quite enough time. Does get the quest discount off though. That's quest line part number 2. Soul Fragments drawn do help with things like that. Plays a Spirit Jailer out, but does he have the time to play his Ironbound Brutes? Oh my god, animations are still going. That's a double jump that he got off as well. That's one Ironbound Brute for 0 mana. That's the second Ironbound Brute. This might just be lethal coming in next turn for Dabs, and a Chaos Strike.
Wow. How did he do everything?
Dabs is way ahead of us, playing cards as quick as he can, just trying to slam down those Ironbound Brutes. Almost completed the second and third phases of the quest on that turn, but now Geranium, not many options. The out of copies of Coerce was only running the one, so this is a sort of Cloak of Shadows. And
yeah, this looks like a hide turn. Now, do you actually glide here? That's the question.
I think you can. You've seen a lot of cards from Geranium's hand. I think Glide is sort of just BM at this point. It's very difficult for Geranium to win from this position.
Yes.
Only one copy of Coerce. There's not much else he can do to remove these massive taunt minions, so this may just be probably a concede from Geranium on the next turn. This Glide, not an outcasted Glide, though, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah. Now,
our boy, Kurt.
There is Kurtrus, but do you even play it? I mean, I actually think Stelina is a really good card here, and there's out of time.
Yep.
Wow.
Does not matter. Geranium Battle with the concede, knows he's dead on board. Those Ironbound Brutes, very strong minions, and oh my god, the piloting from Dabs in that.
What was this game? Just what is happening right now? We right now have a 1-0 lead for Dabs versus Geranium.
Yeah, Dabs really pushing his way through this tournament. Swept his first opponent, gets the first win over Geranium Battle. This Demon Hunter is a hard deck to pilot, even without 15-second turns. So amazing how many cards Dabs got off. And Ironbound Brutes are just a bad matchup for the Poison Rogues. We'll see what Geranium can get going in this next game. Is going to run back the Poison Rogue, this time up against the Quest Shaman from Dabs.
Now, normally this matchup is Quest Shaman favored because exactly of that third card over there, Feral Spirit. 2 taunts are really good. One thing that I recommend players, your mulligan phase is not in Noz mode. Oh, okay, there is Noz. Okay, it didn't show me the animation of Noz, so I don't know if Noz is around or not. I think it is, because it is playing fast, but
yeah, it should be. It took a little while to trigger, but interesting plays. Obviously, the turn 1 quest from Dabs, Coin Swindle for Geranium. Really looking for a weapon. Doesn't have one in the opening hand. Can't find one with Swindle, unfortunately, but does need one pretty soon.
Yeah, a common play this deck can do is turn 4 Secret Passage just to try to find a weapon, and you can keep trading your things in.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a turn 4 Secret Passage from Geranium. It really might make sense, or even Secret Passage with like a prep drawn or something next turn, because these Feral Spirits are going to be rough.
Yeah, we're seeing the Feral Spirits. We also know that overload is not going to matter because we can see a Zapper Guidance hand. There is the weapon though.
Absolutely, a weapon picked up for Geranium on turn 3 is huge.
Yes.
Huge, and now he just needs to find part 2 of the combo, which is some poisons.
Yeah, and now he's going to give one of the wolves Wind Fury. Just try to kill him fast. That overdraft also really helps once he overloads a ton.
It's true. This was really nice. And Guidance, actually, in this deck, not a very hard card to play in Oz mode. You're always both.
Yeah, you always choose both anyways, and you can think later of what to do. Now, I will recommend what I always do for Nas mode is use the mulligan to make sure you know your game plan for that whole match, because you're not going to have time to replan.
Yeah, but wow, this secret passage from Geranium. Hoping he got all the cards off, but this should allow him to clear out both of these Feral Spirits.
Yeah, that is a turn though. And a turn against this deck is not great. You don't want to waste your time. That said, he has Cutting Class in hand. He has Wicked Stab. He's looking really well. It looks like he can do whatever he wants, and his opponent cannot stop him right now.
True. These are two 0-mana cutting classes in hand for Geraniums.
Yeah.
So this weapon is about to start getting huge, and with the damage from Sinister Strike from Wicked Stab, Geranium's going to be pumping out damage pretty darn quickly. So Dabs may need to
Yes.
look for something like another copy of Feral Spirits.
Yeah, or just healing. And Shaman, it's surprising to say this, but Shaman doesn't actually have that many healing spells right now. At the same time, there's one big problem for Geranium. You don't have time to do everything, and you've been playing slow. How do you play faster? You need to figure out you can't waste time here. You're going to burn cards now. You're just going
Yeah,
to
you gotta just throw as many cards as you can. This is actually, yep, 10 cards in the hand, going to burn one on the next draw. I actually wouldn't have hated seeing, oh, and a Paralytic Poison. That
Yeah.
does hurt. I actually wouldn't have hated seeing Geranium keep one of the keep the copy of Guild Trader just so you could start playing out things like Sinister Strike, like Wicked Stab with a little bit of spell damage. Ooh, rolling into the Taunt Totem, really good here for Dabs.
Yes, and you can coerce it.
Ah.
Losing a Wicked Stab is very major as well. How do you deal with this? If you cannot stall and deal with this really fast, you're gonna die. There's basically 1 or 2 turns left until the Quest Shaman kills the rogue here.
And Geranium still playing a little slow, gets the coerce off, might get the 7 damage up to face, but Dabs really great
Yeah. Now,
awareness of the matchup, right? Is playing this out like a Zoo Shaman deck, just sort of like an Elemental Shaman playing all his minions down. Oh, this should just be lethal.
yeah, I think this is lethal just with the strength of the Note Taker, and the spell
Yeah.
damage. I
Great
think this
spot.
is it.
Diligent Note Taker with Lightning Bolt spell damage from the Novice Sapper. That is 1 more damage than necessary to take Dabs up to 2-0.
Remember, you don't have time to do math in this mode. So Dabs going 2-0 here is very impressive how he counted lethal there. May sound like it's not that much, it's just simple math, but you have 15 seconds, and if you're wrong, you need to pull a different play, like hexing your own minions.
It's all on instinct here, and you have to have played the deck a lot of times to know what sort of scenarios you can look for lethal in, right? You got to have a bit of a feel for the lethal. And Geranium playing these turns a
Mm-hmm.
little on the slower side. I would actually like to see him switch off the Poison Rogue just to get out of his head, maybe start playing some quicker turns with the Doomhammer Shaman or something.
I agree. The main reason to stay, though, is this matchup is a
Ooh.
90% for the rogue. 9-0.
Yeah.
It's
This one really should not be that hard to win. Very hard for the mage to complete quest against a deck that plays no minions, and very easy for a rogue to just hit a mage in the face.
yeah, it's especially you
Oh.
have coin. Okay, this is perfect hand. You can coin Swine Tusk into Paralytic Poison Silverleaf. Your opponent cries because there's nothing they can do.
Abs's hand is so bad.
Yeah, you can Sinister Strike turn 1. This is
He drew the
fine.
card of Nozstone the Eternal. I like the Sinister Strike. Dabs' hand is just unfortunate. Nozdormu in the hand, Fireball, has to ping on turn 2, hasn't played a
Nothing.
single spell to progress the quest. None of these are playable.
None of these. And the thing is, honestly, if Dabs knew Geranium's hand right now, he might even concede. I'll be honest.
This is a bit of a concede game. Another completely
Yeah.
unplayable spell. Just what do you do if you're the mage in this matchup?
You need to generate like 10 ice barriers. Otherwise, you're not going to win. Um,
Yeah, does make
Now,
sense. Also, seeing the Cloak of Shadows in Geranium's hand will block
That's a turn
Block
without
things
spells
like these
happening.
fireballs. Wow, immediately play it off the top.
Yeah. You could. I kind of wanted Cloak of Shadows and wait a turn for that, but this is also fine. You can just go poison, poison, cutting class, and then Sinister Strike. You can play your whole hand.
Oh my god. You should be able to play all of these, play out both the deadly poisons, get that health back up on the Swine Tusk Shank. The Swine Tusk Shank now does represent lethal alone, cutting class, played through. If you get the Sinister Strike off too, this could even be a kill next turn.
I would be surprised zero if it is. Like right now, it's one off lethal. So he's just waiting for anything he can play with prep, and that's going to be lethal. Um, the rogue can't even hide if it's afraid of the mage killing it, which it should not be. There's another cutting
No.
class to make sure you can get your lethal.
Abs draws yet another dead
Garrote,
spell and
there it
just plays
is.
another fireball. Oh, Garrote, this should be it.
Garrote
This
is it.
is lethal for Dranium on turn 5. Really, really well done. Getting as much damage down as he can in these early turns, throwing all of his spells at the face, and we'll see if he gets everything off in time. He should.
Yeah, this matchup is incredibly favored for the Poison Rogue, and it shows. I think it showed really clearly this time.
It does. This was just really depressing for Dabs, but hey, you pick your cards up after this one. Nothing you can do about that. Really, just a bit of a
Oh no.
matchup difference. So, go up that mage again and see if you can cop a win.
I think in this matchup, even with a different hand, there was no way you could have actually beaten this. No way. Like that rogue was
Really,
perfect.
nothing to do.
No. He had the perfect hand the whole time.
Anything the Dabs could even do better to improve that.
No. Our next game, we do see that Shaman. Now, is that a Doomhammer Shaman?
It is a Doomhammer Shaman. So, no quest this time. Instead, trading in the quest for things like double copy of Doomhammer, some Storm Strikes, a Diligent Note Taker with Rockbiter weapon. Interestingly, there are a lot of elementals in this list too. There's a Lily Pad Lurker
Yeah?
here, and obviously Nozstone at the top end.
Nice. Now, we do see one of the most important cards for the mage. Incanter Slow is in the house. Now,
Yeah,
all
is this Baron's Spell Mage?
it has the quest, but other than that, it's pretty much Baron's list. Well, I'm sure he plays the fire card too. I forget the name of it.
Yes, he should. But I mean, we see here a very Barons-esque starting hand. Obviously, both nerfs on Incanter's Fool and Springwater, but the two in combination are a very strong pack.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's still one mana draw 3 or draw 2. And that's playable, completely playable.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I agree with the Cram Session play on the last turn, actually. I think it's hard pressed to find a better turn than just Incanter's Flow here. I guess you're just spending your mana looking for more cards, but you're always gonna play an Arcane spell.
Yeah, the problem here is just look at Geranium's hand.
Yeah.
Geranium is going to say, I'm totally fine skipping this turn because next turn I coin my Doomhammer and then I'm going to kill you. Because there's
Uh,
no way you can stop that much damage.
oh my god, coin Doomhammer on the next turn to something like Rockbiter with the Diligent Note Taker out. This is just all the damage in the deck.
And everything is going to your face. There's no chance anything goes anywhere else. And it's going to your face in 2 or 3 turns.
There's really nothing Mage can do about it. Dabs opts against the Fire Sale here, does play the first and second Flame.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just a
Instead, now
Quad
just looking
Doomhammer.
for a Frost spell.
Um, Now the good part is this 0-2 is actually really good for the mage because you can get your spells out, and you're going to do that out of whatever you get on Springwater. A flurry would be great. You are just a frost spell out, so even Ice Barrier would be pretty good here.
Springwater is good here. Does find Ice Barrier, is playable at 2 mana, but still, Dranium has so much damage of the next few turns that it
It's gonna be so hard.
just might not matter.
I agree. Like there's also just it's gonna be so hard. He's letting the 0-2, so there's a good target for your own Storm Strike. You can just Storm Strike your own minion and deal 10 damage face. Next turn, you can deal so much damage to your opponent and just keep pummeling your opponent in the face, turn
And
after
this is
turn.
really smart. Dab's probably really regretting the decision not to just brain freeze the 0-2. Um,
I agree.
misses out on a frost spell for this next thing, especially with Geranium killing his own minions. So now can't complete the second phase of the quest this turn.
Yeah, he needs the spring water to hit the second ice barrier, or the runed orb to hit an ice barrier. There's not enough
Find
time.
it, intellect. Oh, he does find it actually. Finds it off the arcane intellect. Trade in a fire sale at the end there too. Oh, actually doesn't quite get it off, but still finds the ice barrier. Really huge. May stay alive for another turn.
Yeah, but there's no kill yet. As much as he can do a lot of stuff, there's no way he can kill this Doomhammer Shaman, and he's going to be left at 8 health into another Rockbiter and a Canal Slogger. Can you actually survive
Uh,
here as Dabs?
8 health is just not quite enough. Runedorb is gonna need to find something like a third ice barrier.
Yeah, you really need a third ice barrier here.
Looking to complete the quest, can actually find one off of the stall for time, but this animation takes a really long
Yeah, and time is not
time.
something they
Deep
have.
freeze not quite it. Not enough mana to play it.
Oh, that is game.
Should he get off brain freeze? Fireball. Yeah, I don't think he runed orbed.
Oh,
In the
that
Geranium
was
battle, gonna cast the rock biter and just gonna win.
this is so hard to cast. It's so hard to cast, but so much fun. Now, do we know what Warlock is Geranium featuring today?
He is playing
Which one?
a quest handlock version of the deck.
So the handlock is not favored into mage. Can the mage in Nozstone be good enough to beat that warlock? That is the question we're all asking ourselves as we begin game number 5 of Nozstone.
Yeah, they even queue their decks fast here. I think mage should be fast enough to beat the handlock sometimes. It's gonna rely on completing these quest phases as quickly as possible.
Yes. Now,
Geranium really needs to just tap a lot, looking to play these flesh giants out and kill your opponent.
yes. And at the same time, if the mage gets his tools, this is going to mean trouble. I don't think Ice Barrier
Interesting
was what
starting
I was
hand for
thinking.
Dabs. No,
Yeah.
double ice barrier, not quite it. Gonna obviously start with the quest. May play cram session on 2 into barrier on 3, but this is a little slow in terms of quest completion.
Yeah. That being said, you have the time against Warlock. Especially with the Giants nerf. You're actually not that pressed in this matchup. We do see a very easy quest completion whenever he wants with Hot Streak.
It's true, Hot Streak's a good pickup. Flurry's not bad either. Flurry actually is a useful, like, just as a card in this game. But interesting choice from Geranium here. Gonna coin out the backfire, draws a flesh giant, so now has a bit of a game plan.
Yeah. Um,
Dabs opts against the hot streak.
I think it's not as much opting against it as saying there's no reason for me to play it this turn when I can just do it next turn.
True. And this turn you have a higher chance of being able to play a fire spell if you were to draw one.
Yes.
Something like a fireball face.
Yeah.
Ooh, doesn't find one. Does find Encanter Slow. Actually opts for the Runed Orb, though, first, because I believe he just played Runed Orb before seeing what he drew.
Yes. You do need to do this in this format.
Encanter Slow may have been a little better.
Oh, definitely better. But you don't have time to think. You need to play quick cards. You need to play on instinct. And
You really
that is
don't.
what we're seeing here.
10 cards in hand for Geranium is going to mean a 1-mana Goldshire Knoll into a tap back up to 10, actually. He needs to play something really quick.
Yeah, I think he's going to play that tour guide. Now we do
Gets it out
see
there, gets the first stage done.
this is the dream for his opponent though, because his opponent can play Combustion if he would like, or he can just play Incanter Soul and freeze. He can go Incanter Soul Flurry, and even could start with Spring Water if he thinks there's enough time. Or
The only thing
just
you really don't want to do this turn is devolving this.
now I did want to see the Flurry this turn because I think you can play it, but you can wait for the Giant. Just freeze the Giant
Yeah.
next turn.
Fury's not bad in terms of Frost activation, but I would rather be freezing Giants in this matchup. The Giants are sort of the only thing the Warlock
True.
can kill you with this early in the game, and saving the Flurry for something like right now is going to be huge, especially because Geranium has the Battle Master in hand.
True. Now you do get to discover a card. Interesting choices would actually be Snap Freeze or anything that can destroy quickly. Brain Freeze is fine as well. I would not go for Flame Strike, but I just would take that, play the Flow, Ping, and even Brain Freeze here.
Flame Strike a little slow. We'll see which minion he opts to freeze. Does Brain Freeze the Giant? This is at 2 out of 3 quest completion, actually, though, so just needs to draw a Fire Spell in order to complete the third phase.
Yes. There are a ton of fire spells, and you know what he has in hand? Refreshing Spring Water. That's right there.
And he's just played the Incanter's Flow, too. This is a huge pop-off turn, hopefully coming up for Dabs. Really interesting from Geranium here. Actually just gonna Soul Rend his own minions down.
Yeah, trying to say, I don't want you to do your stuff before I do. I'm just going to drop... Well, with a null, the null kind of helps for your opponent. There's the Ignite, so we are going to see the minion. You can leave that 5/4. You don't actually need to remove it right now. And just
totally can. Leave it. A Dawn Grasp.
Yeah.
Dawn Grasp out of here. Maybe you could play off one of these Primordial Studies this turn too, if you can, just time's sake.
Yes. I would take the Steward, actually. Just take stuff you can draw with or get draw. Because right now...
Yeah, I think he ran out of time.
Yes, I agree.
Will allow Geranium to clear off Arcanist Dawn Grasp. However, was really looking for Giants off of that Raised It. Has second Raised It in hand. May want to cast it now before bring out another null, but no, this is actually going to be a Tamsin turn. Looking to drain Soul completely on Arcanist Dawn Grasp. Kills it without the nulls.
Getting draw out. The dream draw for Dabs is Creme Session. Creme Session is crazy. Steward of Scrolls is pretty good, not gonna lie.
Into Creme Session!
Play fast!
This hand is incredible and massive. Oh, another Incanter's Flow played, another Creme Session drawn, Ignite drawn too. This is so much damage in hand.
That is crazy amount of damage. Now you have the burn, and you can just go Ignite, Fireball, and draw 5 cards if you need it. Your opponent is trying to kill himself, so that kind of helps you as well.
Yeah, Geranium's got to be careful, really trying to tunnel towards quest completion, but not really.
No, you
can't. Working these Goldshire Knolls just not as big as the Giants that he was maybe looking for.
Right. Right now, this matchup that's already super mage favored is really looking like it's going the mage's way. The mage is throwing burn.
Yeah, Dabs just has to play his cards. Play your cards, draw some cards, looking to draw more Ignites off the top. I think even 1-2 more burn spells, and this is over. Cram Session draws 4. Brain Freeze, not it, but Ignite, a good pickup. Is off the Ignite, doesn't find another burn spell, though. May or may not have gotten an Arcane Intellect off as well.
Yeah.
Nine cards in hand, didn't find more burn, but has Spring Water, has Arcane Intellect. It shouldn't be very hard for us to find more burn, but ooh, this is so much healing for Geranium.
Yeah, that's basically a Reno Jackson for wild players here. That being said, your deck is almost empty. As Dabs, you're going to be able to clear a lot. You're just going to be able to get those Ignites. Even with all that healing, can you be stopped? I don't think you can.
Yeah, here's the thing is you don't even really need to clear these minions. As long as you clear / freeze the lifesteal one, you could just keep finding more burn. Picks up a grand finale. Looks like maybe a bit of a mistake, but drawing more cards just needs one more Ignite to finish this game off. May have actually found lethal this turn if he gets the ping off too.
Yeah, was there enough time?
My God.
There was enough time. Oh God.
He played everything in time. Insane turn for Dabs here, playing at least like 6-7 cards on that last turn. Really, really well played.
Yeah, we are. That was crazy. We're going to hop into the next one though. Are you ready for our next match?
Oh, absolutely. Who do we have up next?
We have the one and only Diamond 22 versus everyone's favorite, obviously the best player, Robocats. Are you ready?
I am, but I just clicked on it and it looks like the might actually be over already.
Wait, it's over already?
I think RoboCats may have just 3-0'd Diamond.
Oh, I was preparing the stream for that. Never mind, we're going to find something else. Meanwhile, let's talk
The
about
only
that
other
match. How crazy was that Quest Mage?
Oh my god, insane and so well played from Dabs.
Right? That was
Like the Dabs' ability to see the lines, to find exact play and play all the cards on that last turn.
that was just crazy. It's
They're just so hype.
yes. Um, so we are going to Dabs and Damon. So we're going to stick with Dabs for a third one. Um,
Just following him around now.
I'm letting Dabs know that we're just sticking with him.
Uh, Important to note for our viewers at home that I believe the other side of the bracket is being a little bit held up because Mr. Python and Mick are still, I believe, having friends list issues.
Yeah. I think Desharmo was doing the best he can to solve them. I'm sure he's in touch with the two of them. We were waiting for a bit, but unfortunately, things didn't work perfectly.
Yeah, but that's okay. This is Dabs and Damon final match. Winner of this is guaranteed a prize payout by
Yes.
just making it to the finals.
Yeah, and look at the classes. We have Dabs with the same lineup we've seen a few times. But let's talk about Damon's lineup. We have a Control Warrior, a Libram Paladin, just Face Hunter, and the Weapon Rogue. Tell me a little bit about Libram Paladin. We got a little bit of that spice from Owl earlier.
Yeah, Libram Paladin's a really interesting inclusion here. It's something that Owl was telling us that Damon's been playing to a high degree, playing it up in top 200 Legend for a while, but really a deck that hasn't seen much play since Forged in the Barrens.
Yes, and it's not something I expected to see today because in Forged on the Barrens, that was a very fast deck. Like you couldn't play it slow because of Benflinger, really, more than anything else.
True, we'll have to see how it's changed. Obviously, Penflinger no longer even makes the cut in the deck, but a lot of interesting cards that have made the
Yeah,
cut, such as City Tax.
I really like City Tax. I think Paladin has been wanting a card like this for so long.
To be honest, I don't even know what this card does.
It deals 1 damage to everyone, all of your enemies, and has lifesteal. Think of it like
Wow.
Spirit Lash.
Cool.
But the cool part is this isn't Paladin where you have equality. And even better than equality,
True.
Libram.
Yeah, Libram's and Lord Barov, too, so.
Yeah, so this is pretty good in Paladin. It means you have now easier ways to clear. Um, we are going straight in. As I prepare the screen, just gonna go straight into Damon versus Dabs.
We'll see. I don't know if we touched on the bans. I have just received them. Dabs' Quest Shaman has been banned, and Damon's Poison Rogue, I believe, has been banned.
Awesome. Those are some interesting choices. So we're not going to get to see Poison Rogue, which I always consider that good. I hate seeing Poison Rogue. But we're not going to
We
see
won't get to see
Quest
that.
Shaman.
We will get to see some fun decks like Control Warrior and Dabs' Demon Hunter. We're already getting off to a fast start here.
Yes.
Aggro Shadow Priest versus the Libram Paladin.
Yeah. And I'm just going to spec Damon
Oh,
here.
wow. That was a quick mind render of Lucia from Dabs, really just making sure that Damon has no time to think about what to play. Plays out the mind render, Lucia trading in the City Tax away from him. Damon emoting, telling Dabs that was a mistake, trading his minions off to the Cult in the A5, but this Void Touch Attendant is still alive.
It is, but this is Paladin we're talking about. They have so much healing. They have so much clearing. That being said, that is a scary Void Touch Attendant. Just look at
Yeah,
the
they have
size
a
of
lot
that
of
thing.
healing and clearing, but can they even get to it? This is already about half health for Damon.
Yeah, that is not looking great. That looks like Dabs with the hottest of the restarts.
Yeah, but a really, really strong and quick start for him. Has the Twilight Deceptor in hand too, that'll be really powerful. Unfortunately, Nozstone also in the hand.
Yes. That's one of the things with this mode. You don't want to draw Nozstone. It's an awful card. And every time you do, things
Oh.
get worse.
Is Dead finds the Void Touch Attendant, guaranteed. Also Occult Neophyte.
Yeah.
Like, this is so much damage coming out from Dabs. Can Damon heal or clear through this?
He would need Bear of Broom. He can go with the Blade Master Samuro. If he had Conviction, that would be a lot better, but this is not enough to clear everything, and basically your opponent gets to keep doing his thing.
I believe this is just guaranteed lethal on board from Dabs. That's going to be a concede from Damon in a really quick Shadow Priest win in game one.
Yeah, Shadow Priest, better deck than many people are giving it credit, or just a meme?
Oh, this deck is great. This deck is really, really good. And I like Dabs' version too. He's got Kazakus in the 4 spot, no Gandling, no Void Shard, so right down the middle. Kazakus is a really, really powerful board option.
Yeah. I apologize. The stream is going to be. I'm adapting as quick as we can, but I don't always have the stream all set beforehand, since this is a very dynamic tournament. Um,
It's a fast-paced one.
yes.
The
By the
best you
time I have
can.
a
We'll
match
see.
done, we're just starting the next one, but that is fine.
These players move at a breakneck pace, not just in game, but out of game too. And this is an interesting match.
Yes. This is going to be a really interesting one. Really, hot start here. We now are going to get to see that Demon Hunter again, and I'm excited to see how this Demon Hunter is doing because it was hilarious the first game. Just so much pressure.
Dabs piloted this deck almost to perfection in the first games that we saw, really playing well, drawing all through his deck on quick turns. But Control Warrior, not a very hard deck to pilot in a format like this. Really, a 1 card per turn type of a thing. Has the Commencement in hand too, which is an interesting addition.
Yes. So this is the
I
big
believe
list.
can only draw Nozdormu, Troublemaker, and Rattlegore.
Yeah, this is the big list,
Yeah, but
and
it's not quite as big as the one we were seeing earlier.
no, definitely not.
I believe only Nozdormu, Troublemaker, and Rattlegore off of Commencement.
Yes. Um, the classes are going to be live soon. I'm getting that ready. Okay, now stream is all set. Now we can continue. Um, the hot start from Dabs, just going for that acrobatics. That is a cheaper Nozdormu. Um, he could coin, trade, and play the Brute, or just coin out the
Oh my
Brute.
god, yeah! Does it coin, attack with face, plays the Brute. This is really cool.
Yeah, the crazy part is the Warrior doesn't care. He can just Blade Storm.
Can't just Bladestorm. Bladestorm, an important resource, gonna trade away the Provoke.
Yeah, Provoke not super important here. Sword and Board much better.
Absolutely. And this is a big hand from Damon, right? Really just trying to ramp up Live until he can play that Commencement. Dabs drawing through his deck as quick as he can. Does have an Outcasted Glide, so we're going to have to see what both players get here.
Yeah. Sigil Runner is really good to set up for later. This is a really, really quick quest. Like, Dabs has
Oh,
finished the quest and is going to finish it next turn.
yes. This quest can't quite play the quest when he's close.
Yes. Um, Now, we're going to see a Sigil Runner into Chaos Strike. We see that 10 Treasure out of Studies. Just a minion to try to annoy the Demon Hunter.
10 treasure's fine. Playing a body, just spending your mana if you're Damon. Don't really have much else to do as Dabs rocketing
Yes.
through this quest once again.
Yeah. And the quest's done. just finished. We're going to see turn
Demon Slayer
6
Kurtrus getting
Kurtrus.
that's insane, especially in Nozstone. Dabs is piloting this so well, playing out as many cards as he can. Only 4 attack this turn, so can't quite kill the Tent Trasher. May just throw it face.
I think that's fine. You're not that afraid of a 5/5 in Control Warrior. In other decks, it would be very different, but in Control Warrior, it's fine.
Yep,
Like,
not a huge issue. Even
not at
plays out the
all.
Rancor just for 2 armor this turn and has commencement on the next turn, so we'll have to see. Is he willing to just drop it in the face of Kurtrus?
Yeah, you have to deal with that Kurtrus, don't you? You could heavy plate Hero Power. Does go for that
You
commencement.
gotta go for the commencement!
That is a Rattlegore.
Oh, Battlegore was the best thing that Damon could have seen.
Yes. And that glide, you could activate it, but I don't know that you actually want to. Seeing the hand, we know that you don't. But what are you going to do? You can get an Ironbound Brute or Irebound Brute. You can get draw. You can do everything. Do you have enough time?
On cards, I think that Dabs actually doesn't want to play the Ironbound Brute yet because he's looking for philosophy. Does find it. You really want to copy these Ironbound Brutes, so may even only play just one here as there's another philosophy left in the deck.
Yeah. Oh, chooses not to. Hoping that his opponent doesn't
Ooh.
notice his great thing
Ooh.
with Kane.
Kane's really powerful, but this Bulwark of Azzinoth just shuts down Dabs' game plan so hard. Really
Yeah.
good into things like Lion Frenzy.
Yes. I don't know how Dabs wins this. There's no OTK in his deck.
No OTK, and he's out of threats.
Yeah, you can go crazy with Lion's Frenzy.
Can, but I believe the only minions left, strong ones, are
Yeah.
Nozstone and Kane, which are both on the hand and don't do anything into this Rattlegore.
Now the thing he can do is just start trading into trading into trading into trading, and try to hit with Lion's Frenzy twice. But you know what's really good into Lion's Frenzy? Just Bulwark of Azzinoth. The best card into it. There's nothing your opponent can do. It doesn't matter his attack. And there's Noz.
There is Nas played from both players, but Dabs is going to run into another issue here too. Lion's Frenzy can't draw that many cards. There's only 7 cards left in the deck now.
Yeah, plus you're gonna die really soon if it continues like this.
Bulwark of Azzinoth is preventing so much damage here. I think Dabs just doesn't quite have the gas.
Yeah. And Dabs concedes. Wow.
This is the same exact thing that we did, that he's low on cards, low on threats, and really just can't punch through this Bulwark.
Yeah, now having that warrior go through is pretty important because that warrior did not want to play against Mage. That's like probably the worst matchup you can get. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no. Getting the easy one with Warrior here is really, really nice. I believe that brings us to what, 1-1 in this series?
1-1. And the warrior is through. Now, that's pretty significant because the warrior would struggle with some of these decks. And we're waiting to see what comes in next. Meanwhile, some news. Mr. Python and Mick have started their match.
Woo!
Finally, the friends list has allowed them. So if we were waiting, we would have been talking up until now. We didn't get that though. We're watching some really hot Dabs action tonight. And now we have Dabs versus Damon, where we're going to see that Libra and Paladin. Now, Libra and Paladin was usually a really good matchup into Demon Hunter. You usually had fun there. Is this going to be the case now?
You gotta imagine this matchup has changed. I believe Dabs just full kept this hand of draw.
Yeah, that is a full keep. You can throw away some of their Librams now. You can just do so much stuff to torture your opponent in that sense.
Glide is an absolute core card in this deck.
Yeah, if you're going for this list, you want to play Glide, the worst card in Hearthstone that now is kind of playable.
All of a sudden makes this deck good, like, single-handedly.
Yeah, it's kind of justifying the glide meme that happened a long time ago when people somehow thought glide was the most broken card in the game when it came out.
Race, I believe. Big fan of Glide.
Yeah. So many ways this quest can be over. Just going for acrobatics, I think, is one of them. Making sure that glide comes in soon. Can coin the frenzy out.
Good. May even want to play the philosophy, copy this Irebound Brute. It's very
It's tight. It's
cheap
a
this
really
turn.
tight. Um, Now you don't need to go that route. You might just be able to go with a glide play. Um, you could even Lion's Frenzy into glide.
Yeah, Lion's Frenzy Glide is fine, but the issue is Damon's hand is really not the problem here. The problem is these 4 attack minions on board.
Right.
Oh.
I am removing some old friends in the meanwhile. I'll let you all see some people I'm removing. I don't wish to remove them, but if you're away for a month, I'm going to have to remove you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm also doing some
Yeah, it does
removing as we
happen,
speak, as Damon has just dropped down a very large attendant.
right? We had a crazy large attendant, and that's just really hot moment where that's a 5/7, but at the same time, there's an empty hand, or not empty, sorry, there's draw from the glide, so how major is it? Oh, that is crazy. That's another Truth Seeker and 2 Liberals. That is as good as a glide could get for you.
Yeah, that was actually really good for Damon. The big swing turn in this game so far has been the first Kurtrus played from Dabs. We gotta see if he can complete the quest and stay alive in time enough to pop off.
Yeah. Um, there's a
Well, had
Crimson
another
Center
glide option,
runner.
didn't take it.
No.
But this is quest completion right here,
Yeah, and most important, that's also an Ironbound
but
brute.
not quite enough mana.
You can go
It is
double
an
giant
Irebound Brute.
here.
This should actually be 2 Irebound Brutes.
Yeah, I think it is. Your opponent doesn't seem to have a good way to clear right now. It
Casts the Fury.
does look like he killed the wrong minion because he could just have left the one with a Libram. Yeah. Um, Snap Blade,
Oh!
not the right one, but that's a pretty
Oh!
major one. Killing that minion is super significant.
Yeah, all 3 of the minions that were in his hand at the time were actually very, very good snipes. So hits the cane is really, really prevalent, especially with these Libram of Hopes about to come online.
Yes. Another giant or brute. Um, Now you need to get through the Librams. If you can get through the Librams, this is amazing. The question is, how is he going to get through the Librams? What's the plan here?
A powerful board, but I just don't know if it packs enough punch to get through 2 Libram of Hopes. The next one probably going to come down on the next turn. This is just so strong.
Yeah, you can glide it away, and that
It's
is what we're
true.
going to see.
An almost immediate glide coming out from Dabs here. Really looking for something like Lion's Frenzy to try and finish out this game, but also important to note that Dabs is at 15 health.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what's the other thing that he doesn't have infinite? Time. This is Nozstone. This deck is dangerous from Nozstone. As insane as he is, how do you win Nozstone here?
It's hard. You got to play fast. Gets those taunts out. Did he play the Lion's Frenzy? Because that could end up a fatal mistake. Didn't play it. There's a Rust Drop.
Yeah.
Viper that does get traded back in. City Tax is going to keep Damon really safe here, though. Can clear off these Irebound Brutes and really just in no trouble at all.
Yeah, and he is. Did he miss lethal? I don't think he did.
I think he did. I believe he's 2 off of lethal, but does set it up with this play. There are lots of lethal chances for Damon here, and it's going to be very hard for Dabs to recover.
Dabs basically needs to lethal this turn.
That's not the draw.
No, that is not what you were looking for.
Looking for some tradable shenanigans.
Yeah, he needs to go in a tradable train, but there's no time to do a tradable train.
Finds the soul fragments immediately, but not enough to keep him alive. Facing down. A lot of damage. 9, 14, 18 damage coming out from Damon here. A close one, but Dabs, again, just can't get there with the Demon Hunter.
Yeah, this was a crazy match. Just... Demon Hunter, it's not the deck for this format, I think. As much as I think Dabs is a great player, this is a very dangerous format for decks that need time. Like that Demon Hunter.
Absolutely. It's a bit of a flex deck, right? It's a bit of a show-off sort of deck in this format, and it's very fun to watch, but now Dabs has found himself in a very uncomfortable position. He still has Mage up, and is facing down a Face Hunter.
Yeah. Now, I don't know how Face Hunter, what the matchup is against these Demon Hunter, because this is not lifesteal. My guess is the Demon Hunter is favorable.
It could actually be favorable, even though Lifesteal Demon Hunter towards the end was also favorable. Really interesting starts with the Spirit Jailer. I think this makes sense.
I agree. I think this is it's an interesting way to start because you don't have a good turn 2 right now. So just get some board to deal with the stuff the Hunter wants to do. The Hunter does nothing surprising here, just
Damon
getting his stuff down, right?
Yeah, this is the absolute nuts from Damon. You got to play the Fury, take out the Initiate.
Yeah.
Abs will have board control after this, but sort of out of juice.
Yeah, but he can deal with that Neophyte, right? Or no? No, actually, I miscounted. He's at 2 mana, not 3. He needs to figure out a way to deal with that Neophyte right now, or at least to play something. He can't play the second Jailer. Hero Power would kill the Tinger, or even trade into the Tinger and just go Ace or kill 2. Honestly, killing the 3/2 with both is fine as well.
I like killing the 3/2. I think that's more likely to just hitting you. You don't really care about the Wolper Tinger. It trades easily into the Spirit Jailer this next turn, so I like this play.
I agree. And I do like the Kane coming in soon. Like, I think you need to get that Spectral Sight online, because you need to go for things like that if you want to win. So just using Kane.
A Spectral Sight.
Yeah, Spectral Sight.
Like the Kane play. I think you can even trade this.
I agree. I agree. Now, the problem is that Piercing Shot is so much damage. It's 5 damage to your face.
That's got to be painful if your Dabs Damon really just starting to put the pressure on. But out of minion juice, gonna have to find most of the rest of this damage from hand.
This is Hunter. If this was another class, I would say, better think twice. I don't know if you can pull it. But Hunter, usually they can pull that kind of thing. Now, there's an Ironborn. I cannot say this card's name. I've given up. It's late. I'm tired. I'm doing Noz. I cannot say whatever this card's name is.
It is an Irebound Brute that has just been dropped for 1 mana against a Face Hunter. How do you come back if you're Damon here?
I mean, the only way you can come back is dealing face damage. And this is what the Hunter is trying to do. Betting that, I haven't seen AoE in your deck. Can you actually clear this board?
Yeah, there is no AoE in the list.
No, there's none. Illidari Studies can get you the weapon that AoEs. So that might be a way you go for it. Or you just keep slamming giants and saying, you can't do a thing about my cards, I'm better.
Yeah, I think slamming giants seems pretty good, especially when Dabs may have just full completed the quest here.
Yeah.
Not quite. Very.
I don't think he needs to complete the quest if he's just going face.
Plays the Persistent Peddler out. I love this play. Plays out the Persistent Peddler, gets 3 Irebound Brutes on the field. This is lethal.
Yeah. Now his opponent needs something that can deal with them. He gets the explosive. That's pretty good. But there's not enough time to do everything he needs to do.
Oh. Wow, really well played
Wow.
from Dabs. Of his
Yeah.
outs, playing down as many Ironbound Brutes as
That was crazy.
possible this game. Really good card on a Face Hunter, apparently.
That was completely crazy. Not gonna lie.
Really
Just
insane game.
completely insane. And we get to game 5. That is a mage.
Uh,
So I don't have to say Iron Found, Iron Forge, whatever. I don't need to name that card anymore. Good. Now we have the mage versus the hunter. This is a pretty bad matchup for the mage.
a really polarizing one, always has been for spell based
Yeah. Spell
mage
mage,
decks. Always has been for mage decks in general. Face Hunter. Face Hunter's just really good here.
right? They can just do their thing. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, this is a disgusting hand from Damon 2. Kolkar Pack Runner on the coin. Exactly
Yeah.
what you're looking for.
Intrepid Initiate going to be played into Coin Wolpertinger. Yeah, strong start.
Oh, this is the same exact start that Damon had last game.
Yeah, kept the brain freeze so he could do exactly this turn.
This is big brain plays from Dabs here. Doesn't play the quest until turn 2, knowing that he has the brain freeze, so guaranteed kill on the initiate.
Now, you know what makes for a good Hearthstone player? Always getting Huffer. That's always been the secret. The other thing you want,
Does find a Refa twice.
yeah, but the other thing that makes for a good Hearthstone player is flow on curve.
That's true. Go on curve and fire sail into a huge board.
Yeah, now the dream would be the Sorcerer's Gambit to give you brain freeze. Honestly, the best scenario would be either that or something that could deal direct damage. Um, Even Ice Barrier would be fine. So much damage.
Yeah. Man, really interesting line. Pushing with the quick shot. Not a play I'd really considered. Finds the Springwater, though. This is huge.
Yeah. Going to finish the quest. The quest mage needs to go fast. Not going to be enough time, is there?
No, there's not, but this is huge. Can almost even complete the next phase, too, if Dabs had the time. Ice Barrier! Oh, he didn't pick it!
Not enough time to do everything he wants. Piercing shot going to be major. You wanted to play the initiate first if you were going to play the initiate. He's not
I like
playing it.
this.
I like
Not
it.
gonna play the initiate. Not gonna give options, but this is so unfortunate. Dabs fully of Ice Barrier there. Didn't get to play it.
No, and this is not looking good for Dabs. Any damage card means the game's over. And his opponent is just going to say there's a good chance I draw one, otherwise I guess you can win. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, you don't even need another damage card. I mean, Damon hopes to draw one here, but if he doesn't find one, not the end of the world. Just kill in 2 turns. If Dabs can't
Yeah.
find lethal next turn.
The problem is Dabs' deck is discounted by 2, and there's nothing.
There's nothing there. Oh my god, Dabs could find lethal here. He has so much spell damage.
This might actually be a win for Dabs.
This is spell damage plus 6. If he plays out the trader, plays out the lab partner, spell damage plus 6, he could attack with Varden Dawngrasp. There's no way this isn't lethal.
This is lethal for sure with that fireball, the ignite, the
Oh
rune
my
door.
god.
That is crazy. There's a win at 1
this is so
here.
much damage.
Ow! Wow! Ouch.
Abs has done it. Pulls out the unfavorable matchup and with a
Oh my god, this is crazy.
clutch in the end, this last turn of just spellcast after spellcast, so much face damage.
Uh, that is crazy. Just completely crazy. Woo! What a match to get the blood flowing.
To catch my breath, what a
Yeah, right? I was not ready for
game.
this. I want to congratulate Dabs on making the finals. We're going to have a bit of a time though, because the other bracket isn't as advanced. We're going to hop to, I believe we're going to go to Nice Jewish Owl versus the winner of Mr. Python and Mick, which is ending really soon.
That match should end up really soon. Like you said, congratulations to Dabs, guaranteed a payout of some kind.
Yeah.
The
Um.
final in this tournament, and just really well played the whole way through.
Yeah. Now we are going to. So just so you all know, this is how the bracket is looking. Whoever wins of Mr. Python and Mick, that is finishing really soon. They're in Game 5. Going to face Nice Jewish Owl, who will hop to Spec. After that, the winner of that match faces Darren, and the winner of that match faces Dabs. So we're going to see Dabs again in like an hour, something like that, right?
Yeah, we will get back to Dabs eventually, but it's gonna take a little bit of time.
Yeah. Let's see if we can watch if the system is going to let us watch Mick versus Python for a little bit, just so we can get ready. And while I get the screen ready, I apologize. The text doesn't actually mean the players, but there's not enough time for me to fix everything.
Really isn't. I'm hopping into Mix spectate right now. I don't have Python for some reason, but I can at least cast from Mix side. Mick playing the Control Warrior has Turtle Spike and a 6/6 Rattlegore, but not quite enough damage. This appears to be a Control Warrior mirror. Are you kidding me?
This is a Control Warrior mirror, yes. And where would you get that matchup other than Nozstone? Um,
Exactly. This is not a standard matchup we see very much anymore. Mick trying to push damage, but oh, Morg Forge Fiend
oh
from Mr.
god,
Python's big warrior. This might just end
this might be enough.
the game. Not lethal this turn, but Mick needs a hell of a draw.
Yeah, and what is his draw?
And this was
Mutinous.
not it.
It's a
Not
good
it.
card, but not
Oh!
it.
Yeah, Mutinous is a great card, but Mr. Python should just take the win here.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Mick
Wow.
falls as soon as we join the spectate, I believe Mr. Python takes this series 3-2.
Yes. Um. So it isn't letting me spec Mr. Python, but I will let Milo know that we're going to be specking him next.
Yeah, Mr. Python has disappeared from my
Yeah, he probably had to
list, but we'll see.
restart. I will prepare the stream for it in these like 10 seconds we have to prepare stuff. Um,
At least we know what we have coming up this time. We are going to be seeing Mr. Python versus our friend, Nice Jewish Owl.
yeah, I promised we would do a owl match, so here it is.
Now we finally get to see our co-caster and friend, Nice Jewish Owl, pulling out his control lineup.
Yeah, can that beat Nice Jewish Owl versus Python? Um, we're just getting ready, setting up the stream. So Nice Jewish Owl brought the Libram Paladin as well, which we did see. The Control Nazoth Priest, Quest Shaman, and the Control Warrior. So tell me a little bit about Nazoth Priest. Is that still a deck?
Uh, Short answer? Oh,
No, right?
it's not. I mean, look, Blade Master Samuro Apotheosis still does some pretty insane things even after the Apotheosis nerf. This deck is still viable in tournament formats. It's been sort of ripping up the Master Tour qualifiers sometimes, and Nice Jewish Owl is a very good pilot
Mm-hmm.
of it, but we'll have to see what it can do versus Mr. Python.
Right. Right. I am curious to see where this one will go. Um, the shaman. I'm finishing preparing the stream. Again, we do everything as quick as we can, but it is harder than it seems for these Noz tourneys.
Going as quick as we can, Mr. Python. I believe logging back into Hearthstone.
Um, I hope so. I know Owl is currently playing Duel, so hopefully he will be done soon. Python has said he is ready, so Owl might just be finishing his Duel game. Are you a Duels gamer, Mojo?
I'm not much of a duels gamer. I really haven't played much of that format since it came out.
Not a huge, yeah. Um, are you an
Of
arena
Dungeon Run
gamer?
though.
Dungeon Run is
Ooh,
interesting.
not an arena gamer. Yeah, I'm still pretty much just a standard and Dungeon Run gamer.
Dungeon Run was really fun. I didn't like the ones afterwards, but I did enjoy Dungeon Run.
That was a good one. I played a Dungeon Run match against Chewbacca in the THL All Stars a couple of seasons ago.
Oh, I remember that. That was the year Donde wanted to make a
Yeah,
crazy format.
yeah. I emoted all of my opponents, and the casters loved it.
Yeah,
I would always greet my Dungeon Run opponents.
that's awesome. Um,
All right,
now,
I'm logging back into Hearthstone because I could not see Python.
yeah, I'm going to do the same. Making sure we can get this match set due to technical difficulty, because can't stream Hearthstone without technical difficulty.
And just a reminder for everyone at home, it's been a little over an hour since we've talked about Mr. Python's lineup. This is the Big Warrior, uh,
Yes.
Elemental Shaman, the Shadow Priest, and our interesting Soul Demon Hunter.
Yeah. Now, okay, so now I need to wait until the friends list loads for me. That's a little bit of a time. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll take some audience comments. I just want to note, I really like the comment by Astrofrog. It is very entertaining to watch DH in Nas, in my opinion. Yes, it is. I'll be honest, it's impossible to cast, but it is one of the most entertaining things.
So many decisions happening for Dabs in one turn that you sort of just have to say, well, he's playing his cards.
Yeah, pretty much. He played all of them, some things happened, and a player won.
Yeah, and eventually, Dabs' opponents have died.
Yeah. We're getting ready here, just waiting until all players show up. I do have Owl, I don't have Python yet, but I'm sure he is going to load really soon? Question mark.
Yeah, I have just loaded back into.
Yeah. No, I restarted to make sure there was no dual or friends list crash because it's been a day.
It sure has. And not even close to the end yet. We got to watch this entire second half of the bracket. We
Yeah,
get to the finals.
yeah, we're going to see 3 more matches tonight. I hope you're all as excited as I am. I wanted to see RoboCats versus Diamond because Diamond is always fun to watch. Um, but RoboCats was crazy and just finished it early.
That's true. RoboCat's been waiting for a long time. Dabs will now also be waiting for a long time to find opponents.
Yes. Now we are waiting to make sure they can challenge each other. Nice Jewish Owl has been able to challenge Python apparently. We don't have, at least I don't have Python yet. But we can start by specking Owl.
I have Python. Interestingly, I actually don't have Owl.
So we can start each at one of them and Below the other
I,
one.
I now have Owl as well, so as soon as they get into game, I will have them both.
Awesome. Let's see, who do I have?
Assessing bans at the moment.
Have they submitted their bans?
They have not yet.
Okay, so as soon as we have their bans, we can hop in. Now,
Hoping we get to see a full game of Big Warrior this time.
oh, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? I I do think this is a prime time to tell everyone how you can sub to THL using Twitch Prime for free if you have Amazon Prime, and it is great. It helps us keep the cost of the server going, all the shows that you watch. Basically, it helps content a lot. It helps tournaments like Maniac Mondays. So if you enjoy THL, make sure you sub. It's really helpful for all of us. Um,
Absolutely. And now that that plug is out of here, got some bans, and they're heading into game.
awesome. I'm going to start specking Nice Jewish Owl. Hopefully, the game is going to let us spec Python as soon as possible.
Just as an update, Nice Jewish Owl has had his Quest Shaman removed, and we will not get to see the Soul Demon Hunters. That was banned as well.
We're going to start with a priest mirror that has nothing to do with a priest mirror because these are face decks, or at least one of them is a face deck.
One of these is a face deck off to a massively fast start. Inspired Homunculus coming out now too. Void Touch Ascendant putting down
That is just such a
so
quick
much
start.
damage. Why is the Nameless one in this deck?
Hoping to silence Radagor, I think.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's the only good reason I can think to have that.
Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, that's the only
Go
thing I can think of. Now,
freshman traveling merchant here.
I think so. Does he have enough time? Now, the order was a bit wrong.
Oh,
Definitely wrong. Unless he's playing around Hysteria, in which case,
maybe. Let's do some counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh,
maybe.
oh, maybe.
Do we
Can't
have
tell.
enough time to count? I don't know that we have enough time to
I
count.
think we really do. Oh, the Nameless one.
There it is. And not as bad as it seems.
Very little though.
Oh, yeah.
Jewish Owl is really taking a lot of damage here. I would have maybe preferred to see something other than this one that turn, like maybe a Zyrella play.
Well, Zyrella is coming in this turn. This is certainly going to be a Zyrella renew or even palm reading into whatever you can. Holy Smite is
Ooh,
fine.
really good. Yeah, Holy Smite, Coin, Renew, Zyrella. This is a really powerful turn.
Yes. And you know what is good with palm reading and renew? Another palm reading, another renew.
Absolutely. And you know what else is really good on turn 6? Light Shower Elemental.
Yes, that's one of the ways you can try to close the game. Um, that being said, his opponent does have a lot of burn. Going to be able to see burn, especially taking into account the void shards that are incoming. I don't like missing a hero power there. I actually think the hero power, knowing your opponent has light showers was cool. But
Hero powers are
who snap at the
really what you want to
shard?
be doing right now. Especially, I would have even maybe liked to see killing off your own Void Descendant. Ooh, Shard of the Naru. So we're not playing down a Light Shower Elemental this turn. However, we will get the Zyrella heals as well as a hero power.
Yeah. Is that
This
enough?
phase. Yep.
Does that save you?
Owl is definitely out of range for this turn. Thrive in the Shadows will find one Void Shard if he wants it, but there is not another left in the deck. I believe it was already played.
Yeah, that's the tough part, especially taking into account that Light Shower is going to see play. Um, how do you get through it?
Sometimes you go bottom right.
You can ping them. You need to get that Raise Dead to get Void Touch, hopefully.
Yeah, well, you need to kill off your own Void Touch attendant. Just start trading this Void Touch
Ooh,
Attendant in, it's silence. It's not finding you anything. Although these were big minions.
these are some big merchants. Now, if his opponent can stop them, great.
Ah, ooh, starting with the Raised Dead.
How do you beat do? I don't think that you do.
Interesting. Second Light Char Elemental is definitely gonna help. However, this is very difficult now. Oh, and a Lucia here too.
Hmm.
And Render has to come down
You could just
this
go
turn.
Twilight, Illusia, and then even drop the Apo here. Just say, here you go, let me deal damage and heal with your own cards.
I think you absolutely take the Apotheosis away. You could even take the Venomous Scorpid, put it on the table. Yeah, Venomous Scorpid, not bad either. Gonna find a useless spell.
Yeah, just dropping Nos and
Great.
Healing Face doesn't win.
Play some minions. Wow, Mind Renderer Lucia is such a broken card.
Yeah, and those traveling merchants did the work. Can we talk about those two for a second? That was just wow. Just play two giants with an
Really
advantage.
huge. Especially coming off the Raised Dead, both of them at the same time, really smart. I was even thinking of other plays. I was like, oh, maybe we trade in the Void Touch Attendant before we'd raise Dead, but this play worked out so much better.
So much. That was just a sweet play by Python. And now Milo looking to continue his priest win versus the Ellie Shaman. The Ellie Shaman doesn't have Doomhammer, which is a pretty important card in the priest map.
It does not. It does, however, have Whack-A-Knoll. Looking at a different type of hammer here, but a slow opening hand is not going to be great for Python. Can play the Kindling Elemental, however.
Yeah. Um.
Made a slow hand much better.
Yes. Right now you can go coin slogger. You can even go just coin weapon.
I wouldn't mind coin weapon or coin Earth Revenant. I think the issue with Slogger is that you can't play hammer on the next turn due to the overload.
That's true, and you don't have a 2-drop, do you? But this hammer is
No.
so major in Scorpion.
Only 2-drop of the deck is Custodian, and yeah, this hammer is going to be a huge punish for Owl here. Gets to play the hammer this turn. Next turn can even just drop the Slogger, can play a
Yes.
Wailing Vapor instead to trigger the Lily Pad Lurker on the next turn. Python's got options.
Oh yeah. Now raise that is going to give you another Scorpion. Um, just looking to get more targets. Palm reading, always good.
Yeah, the unfortunate part of this raise dead, though, is the Scorpion's just going to die to the next Whack-A-Knoll hammer.
Yeah. On a positive note, you do have Primal Dungeoneer into Wailing Vapor.
True, Primal Dungeoneer was a phenomenal draw this turn.
Yes. Just getting stuff to do really helps.
Of reload, and that when that stuff to do is face damage, like both of those things were, huge, especially because Lily Pad Lurker's not really that effective in this matchup, especially when they haven't played Light Shower Elemental.
It is not. Now, what I'm sure Mr. Python is asking himself is, what do I do here? Or sorry, what I sure nice to Shao is, how do I get this board? Right now, my opponent kills me in 1 or 2 turns. There's nothing I can do. One turn if they just
Condemn.
clear.
Oh, that is exactly what he needed. Only
Good.
Nova with Zyrella, pretty good. Is the Condemn too. It doesn't quite clear, but
Yeah. Um, I don't love this, but fine.
do. Oh, the Raise Dead. Wow. Owl is taking himself so low.
Yeah, that's willing to go lower than I would usually be, but you know what? I like it. Um, that said, just look at that lily pad though. That's a very happy lily pad.
Lily Pad Lurker coming down is huge. I maybe wouldn't have even liked to see it this turn. I think Fire Elemental might have been better. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Scorpid was only going to heal for 2, but it is still a venomous Scorpid. Wow! Apotheosis on the Hexed Frog. Very funny looking, not very good.
Yeah, that doesn't clear.
Owl struggling for ways to survive here. Lots of damage coming out from Python's hand. This is another 6 burst from hand.
Yeah.
Either
Now,
Alakir or Serpent Shrine Gyre Worm,
now you can clear.
which goes over the top of a taunt.
Yeah, so now he can just
True.
drop Alakir. We're just going to see Alakir be.
Yeah. Alakir on an empty board seems like a phenomenal play, especially with, like we said, 6 damage
Yeah.
over the top of any kind of taunt coming down on the next turn.
Yes.
Here goes Alakir Slam Face twice. Play.
Milo going for the renew.
Oof.
Against all odds. That is not enough.
Oh, not enough heals back up to exactly 6, which is exactly
Yeah.
the amount of burn that Python has from hand. Python going to go up 2-0 against the Priest.
Yeah, and if not, he still had the Instructor Fireheart, which likely would be lethal in this scenario.
Yeah, didn't even need it. Fireheart, a very hard card to play in the Nozstone, but now Python's going to have some trouble getting this last deck through. It's big warrior time.
Yeah. Where this was a Demon Hunter ban. I want to see that big warrior facing these three.
Got to imagine the big warrior may be favored into all these control decks, right?
It's probably favored into warrior. I don't know about priest. It used not to be because Cabal Acolyte is a card, and if you play that, it's pretty easy to beat big warrior.
Is a card, but is it in this list?
I can tell
I
you
don't think that it is.
It is. It is not. No. But there is. You know who is in this list? Called the Nameless One.
The Nameless One could be huge in this matchup.
Right? This might be the single time the Nameless One is a relevant card.
This may just be Nameless One's time to shine. Also, Pandaren Importer. Cool.
Yeah. That is a sweet card.
Oh, this is a sweet card, Lotus.
Yeah.
Heavy plate.
Which one?
Heavy plate. Heavy plate.
Oh, yeah. One of the best arts in the whole set. Just really cool art. You can barricade here.
Ooh. Yeah, this barricade's kind of sweet.
Barricade is a good card. It hasn't found yet the perfect home, but as a card, pretty good.
You implying that Big Warrior is not a tier 1 deck?
Well, I don't want to say anything that can be proven wrong today.
Oh my god.
That is the second.
Why do we have a King Crush in this game?
Oh, that is so sweet. Would King Crush be better as a priest card?
It's bad as a hunter card, so.
Yeah, it can't be much worse, right? The only time it was playable was when you could cheat it on turn 7, sometimes even earlier.
Yeah, 6 with the coin.
Yeah.
A lot of cards in hand from Owl. Hasn't taken much damage yet, but Python got double commencement.
Yes.
Oh, with the weapon here? Oh. I just got kicked from spectate.
Oh, I'm still able to. So I was just preparing the stream. So in the meanwhile, I'm going to quick comment it. We now have the 6/6 Light Shower, and Rattlegore is going to get Nameless Wand. Oh, that is fantastic.
Finally, the Nameless One.
It's going to be so crazy when he destroys that Rattlegore, and heartbreaking because it also has Divine Shield and Taunt. Wow, that is a play.
That's still a 9/9, but this was not what Python wanted.
No, your opponent now has a Rattlegore.
To see.
You don't want your opponent to get a Rattlegore and silence yours.
Your opponent's Rattlegore still has Divine Shield and Taunt.
Yes. That's not good.
It is not good. Unfortunately, Scrapyard Colossus.
Yeah.
Also a pretty good card. Owl gonna have a little bit of trouble dealing with it unless he plays King Crush.
Right now, Owl making that bigger Rattlegore, using it to kill the first part of that Scrapyard Colossus, and now there are 2 Rattlegores on.
This is something I'd never even considered. Rattlegore with priest buffs? How does this interaction even work?
Well, you still revert to your original. This is just an 8/8 Rattlegore.
Interesting that it comes back as an 8/8 when it did not start as a 9/9.
Right? It just copies it
Starting
to
as a
original state, though.
4/4. That's very interesting. Python, big hand of stuff here. Actually, just going to start pushing down face damage, and here it comes. Jurassic Park time. King Crush.
Now, here's an interesting consideration here. And I know I'm going to sound dumb, but isn't it end up bringing back King Crush?
It should, yeah.
I don't know if
Venomous Scorpid.
because
I believe one Scorpid has been played. No, I don't think Scorpid's been played yet.
I don't actually know because it has not been played. That is the sweetest off.
And even if Scorpid's been played, it's probably about a 50-50.
Oh yeah.
See, I like the Apo here.
Easy clear.
Yeah, this is huge board swing for Owl. Not only is it a clear, it's a Reno Jackson.
Yeah, and you know what might also happen? Raise Dead might give more Rattlegore.
Oh,
There
it does! That's so disgusting, Lotus.
That is the craziest thing.
Warrior apparently hard countered by nameless one control priest. And look at that! Mr. Python just chooses death.
I wanted to see N'Zoth bring back that Crush, okay? I'm not happy with that concede. I wanted the fun.
I was ready to sing the Jurassic Park theme song.
Right?
Do 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 do.
Just can you make a Jeff Goldblum accent?
We gotta get Trolden in here.
Yeah.
Alright, it'll be interesting now to see what deck Owl queues up into the Big Warrior.
Owl is Paladin.
Maybe a bit of what we expected. Fast start from the Libram Paladin here, though.
Yes. And then into or even go Bannerman.
Ooh, it's a coin Bannerman angle.
The only argument is you.
It's true, and you can't really tempo out Rustdraw Viper. Although, talk about how good Rustdraw Viper is here.
Oh, it's such a deal with 2 of them. You can deal with the shield, and you can deal with Outrider's Axe.
That's true. McGurgle, another fast minion picked up here. This is a huge hand for Owl, but Python has the minefield, just quick, easy clears. Kargath Bladefist drawn at the perfect time, too.
Now, we can see a coin into Aldor, into Insanity. Can deal with it.
Absolutely can, and I'm not sure that he can. Python's going to need a little bit of time and only has the 1 commencement in hand. I would like to talk about Kargath Bladefist. Really interesting. You want to draw it early in a Big Warrior deck, because commencement into Kargath sucks.
Yeah, the reason you play Stage Dive a chance to get Kargath later. There's Libra. Now, can go course that weapon.
Oh. Here comes the Viper, and it's a big one, too. 4/5 Viper into a little bit of face damage from the Shoot Stick. And oh my god, that corrupts a 2-mana Libram of Judgment. This is huge damage.
Is really crazy. how Owl was getting the lead.
Absolutely, but this commencement could pick up Kargath Prime here.
Troublemaker.
Doesn't, just finds a Troublemaker, but still a powerful minion with Moarg Forge Fiend to follow it on the next turn. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, this is a lead
Ooh.
for a Libra move.
This could be a Libra of Justice. Oh, it just chunks through it. You could play a 9/9 Nozstone if you wanted.
Or you can Libra move and drop the Merc. And this have an 8/8 and a 3/2 divine.
This is really nice. And the 9/9 Nozstone can come down on the next turn. Devout People,
Yeah.
Libra of Justice. Jewish Owl has all of the tools to punch through this potential Moarg Forge Fiend, but it's just going to be a brawl.
So, but still pretty cool. Libra and drop.
Yeah, I'm looking at a Nozstone here. Immediately trades the city tax. And oh, Varian, King of Stormwind, is here for the next turn.
I had not Varian in. Really
Varian is so huge. And interestingly, I think it's actually taking the place of Liadrin.
interesting. Adrian, I wonder.
Liadrin's typically pretty core, but doesn't seem to be an Owl's list. But look at this. Variant just draws 3 cards, still punching in the face. Trading in that city tax once again as Python is dropping 1 minion a turn and praying.
Yeah. Now, at this point, how do you.
Well, I will say the Python has the life total to just drop Rattlegore here. Yeah, I totally agree with this play. Still at 27 life, this is the turn to play Rattlegore. You're running out of time.
That's fair. There's no doubling that. You're going to need to just chug through everything.
And this is, well, it's lethal represented. I like this from Owl too, not committing the other Devout Pupil.
I didn't want to stop you, but I actually want to bet into.
Yeah, that is fair.
I just want.
Not going to find lethal this turn. Oh, Commencement's such a big draw.
Nas is here. Ayo.
Nas is here. Unfortunately, Nas is
No.
not going to do enough. It's not quite lethal yet from Owl, but he's pushing for it. That's a conviction. Is this just enough? 3 off?
I don't know that kill, but it isn't.
Yeah, it's definitely 3 off. Did he get the attack off in time, though? I don't think he did.
He didn't.
That's a huge mistake for Owl. And now the Bulwark of Azeroth and Moarg Forge Fiend going to come down to punish. Has to punch through even more.
Yeah.
Warren doesn't have the Libram of Justice.
There is a leap. Chugging leap.
Oh my god. Or we could top deck Justice. Had Barov too, so it doesn't really matter. Still gonna have to punch through a lot of armor here.
Yeah. His opponent is going to drop a bolt. That's the only thing. Minions
Work should come down.
Yeah.
Pretty low. Devout Pupil was a very smart play by Owl that turn because he's starting to get actually pretty dangerously low. They're at the same life total right now.
Yeah. Because the leap Paladin is the aggro deck. You can always switch. You know what? The aggressor now.
Oh, but Libram of Hope is so huge.
So that is the cards you want to draw the most. Big guy and
this is, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah, it's 1 off lethal without the Bulwark there, so lots of damage punching through from Owl. Libram of Hope really might just seal the deal.
Yeah, the question is, can Owl draw something that can deal?
Python's got to find something soon. Oh, that doesn't do it. Should just be dead.
Trade to play that treble. Hope that it thereof.
Yeah, if you hit Barov, even that'll kill Cariel Rome as well. So not terrible. Couple chances. Kills Cariel by itself. Doesn't kill Barov. Is this lethal? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Not quite enough. Can trade in the city tax, though.
Yeah, he can play and just making bigger that Eldor and keep base. Just say, look, deal with this 9/9.
Hey, you know what? 2 mana board clear seems okay to me.
Yeah. Provoke is very major. You might be able to get exactly what you.
Voke with the Runaway Blackwing's actually a board clear,
Yeah.
I think, right? If you trade in Rattlegore first.
Well, you can clear just by using.
Is it a clear anyway? Oh, it's a clear anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the provoke off. Doesn't even need to play the Runaway Blackwing. And this is really interesting. Owl's kind of out of threats. He needs to find something bigger than Blademaster Samuro.
Knight of Annoyance. Get him Hand of a Dog, which is pretty useful.
Yeah, but what's that going to get him? We're looking for something like trade that. We're looking for McGurgle Prime here.
Right now, not how you win this game.
I believe one of them is McGurgle Prime. The other ones are what? City Tax.
Yeah.
Second Hand of It All. Second Pandaren Importer. Second Alliance Bannerman. These all suck.
I agree.
Rom potentially coming down now, although I don't hate the idea of just a heavy plate.
Yes. I think this is strong showing. I think the heavy plate would be really helpful, but you need it in time.
Oh,
Hands of a Doll is lethal. Wow.
Oh my god, heavy plate was like
Heavy plate
better
was there,
right?
Yes, it was.
Wait,
But the McGurgle Prime would have been a problem. Does he
did
not
Owl
take the
just
lethal?
Owl just missed
He did.
lethal. I
Yeah.
think, right?
Pretty sure he did.
Sure it was lethal, but this
Now, he desperately needs
should win the
Brawl.
game anyway.
He needs Brawl here, or it's lethal.
Oh my god, he shot next Brawl!
Wow, this is not
What is
over
going
yet.
on here, Lotus? He top decks Brawl. That's the worst minion. He gets to play the heavy plate too. Python could win because Owl missed lethal.
Yeah. Hearthstone 101, don't miss lethal. Heard it here first.
Darren Importer needs to find something huge.
Maybe.
Oh, Rally is a big one.
Yeah, Rally can be major here. Just getting. Well, you would have wanted a McGurgle. A McGurgle would have been completely insane. But right now, since it's exactly what you want, that dragon is not good into this.
The Dragon's not enough. However, this is Last Jewish Owl's last stand attempt. The last two cards in the deck should be Alliance, Bannerman, and City Tax, which really just doesn't do anything.
No. But this is. Is this lethal?
I think it's lethal. I think it's exact. I'm pretty
This
sure
time
it's
it is exact lethal.
Oh
and
my god, Owl finds it.
Oh wow. He didn't find it the first time, but Owl wins.
Wow, what a
Mr.
game.
Python. Wow, just crazy. Can you hear me well? Descharmo said my mic was weird for a bit.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay, so now game number 5, we have the Warrior Mirror.
Oh, this is an interesting one. I have to say that Mr. Python's got to be pretty favored here, right?
I would be shocked if he isn't. I'll be honest. This sounds like The big warrior has resources, the control warrior doesn't, but we are seeing a player who mostly plays control warrior, so he knows the outs.
Absolutely. Owl is one of the best Control Warrior players. Probably the best one I know, but see how this matchup goes. Commencement and things like that can be hard to deal with. Interesting techs in Owl's deck, too. Stuff like Shadowhunter Vol'jin
Right, right.
and Agtherodon. I don't hate a feat of strength here. I don't know if you have any taunt minions.
Yeah. Um. So just going with this Outrider's Axe, this makes sense, I think.
Yeah, Axe into Scorpion, sort of the typical way this matchup goes. Rustrot Viper does change things a little bit. Could just play Arcade here. Yeah,
Yeah.
seems fine from
Um,
Python.
Now we might see just Axe into Coin Nitro Boost.
Vol'jin seems pretty terrible in this matchup, I got to admit.
I would go a bit further than that, yes. But
Vol'jin may be one of the worst
yeah.
cards that Owl could possibly be running in this moment.
You know what is really good though? Mutinous the Devourer.
Yeah, Mutinous could be huge. Looking to pick up things like Rattlegore, like Runaway Blackwing, they can just win the game on their own.
Honestly, you can probably just drop Vol'jin here because you're not going to play it. You might play it at your own minions to get an extra proc of Mutinous or an extra proc of Rattlegore, but you're not
True.
going to play it in any other condition.
Unfortunate. Oh, Kargath is such a good draw there. Or the Grunt, not the best hit off of this. I was gonna say the unfortunate thing about Mutinous is that it's gonna come down turn after commencement, but we'll see what it hits.
Troublemaker's pretty good.
Yeah, you're never gonna complain about playing a 7-mana 10/12.
No, that removes the Troublemaker from your opponent. That's a card that has a lot of weight in this matchup.
Second commencement though does find the Rattlegore, and this is huge. Could use Shadowhunter Vol'jin on it now, and
Yeah,
that's not bad.
no, that is one of the
Owl,
best ones.
please forgive my flaming of Shadowhunter Vol'jin. This was actually very good.
Yeah. Now, what comes out of this Cowardly Grunt?
Yeah, Troublemaker or a Forge Fiend. Yeah, it gets a Forge Fiend. Could have got a Scrapyard Colossus, I guess, too.
Yeah.
But Forge Fiend, decent option. And Owl's down to 20. This is where you could really just start pushing face.
Yeah. The Rattlegore is down again. Um, there's no silence in the deck.
There's not running his typical Owl.
No. Or you know what he could have? Nameless One in Warrior.
It's true, he could be running a nameless one. I didn't love not hero powering this turn because I believe he is just dead to Outrider's Axe, which Python did not have. Alright, looking at these Discover options, Owl might not be able to find something that keeps him alive into this Rattlegore. I think this is probably just lethal for Python. Looking through his cards, looking for the outs. I choose death, a nice Jewish.
Yeah.
Owl will fall to Mr. Python.
Owl does not make it. This is crazy. Just tries a lot, but Mr. Python gets through to the finals. The final match is Mr. Python versus or not the finals. The semifinals is going to be Mr. Python versus RoboCats. It's going to be a hot one.
Yeah, RoboCats. Let's look at these decks here for RoboCats.
So now RoboCats has the Demon Hunter. It is a Death Rattle Demon Hunter. The Paladin is a just your classical Secret Paladin. The Elemental Shaman and the Face Hunter into Mr. Python's Demon Hunter that we haven't seen yet because it was banned, but it is a Soul List, a Shadow Priest, Ellie Shaman, and the Big Warrior. How do you feel about these decks, Mojo?
I gotta say that these all aggro decks from RoboCats are pretty nice. I'm typically a fan of aggro, especially in this format. Not very hard to play. Pretty easy to make your decisions, play your cards on curve. I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited to see the Death Rattle Demon Hunter. This is the third unique Demon Hunter list we've seen.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I don't know. I think this is going to be a really sweet Demon Hunter. We're going to need to see fast Demon Hunter, which is not something we've been seeing a lot of. Um,
Hmm.
but this is going to be fun. RoboCats. Just seeing these lineups make me so happy. No Warlock is the best. Oh, no Warlock is the best.
We can just forget that the Demon Seed exists.
Yeah, I would be pretty happy about that. Anything to not have to deal with that card is awesome. Now I'm just organizing the stream, so I want to ask you, how do you expect this match to go? Any particular decks you're looking out for?
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. I think that the Doomhammer Shaman has the potential to really shut out some of these more control-based lists.
Mm-hmm.
But you may actually just want to ban the Control Warrior. I think you'd rather take the sort of aggro mirror matches instead of having to play against, things like Stage Dive and Sword and Board.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a lot of like playing into your control and seeing what you can do with them. And we're going to see a lot of that happen with Mr. Python's cards. Um, Now we're just making sure Darren is
I
here.
got to expect a Warrior ban from RoboCats, but we'll see. I believe RoboCats was just getting back
Yes,
online. I see them both here now.
yes. Almost ready with the stream. Getting as fast as we can. Sorry for the delay for the sound. We have 10 seconds or 10 minutes delay, so everything takes a bit longer.
And just a reminder, this is the semi-final match. The winner of this will go on to play Dabs in the final.
Yeah. Um, I'm curious who's going to go into Dabs because Dabs was crushing it. I want to see that Demon Hunter again. That was so much fun. Like impossible to play, but so much fun.
And the Quest Mage, too, something that I don't think we've seen anyone else bringing.
Yeah, and it's very weird that no one brought it. It is one of the most talked about decks. That win against that hunter was crazy. Can we count it as crazy?
One of the coolest games of Hearthstone I've seen in a very long time.
Yes. I would say it was one of the weirdest things because Hunter is just so good at dealing damage face, and that mage was able to survive in like the craziest of ways.
Hunter face damage, something we might get to see in this
Yeah, yeah,
series, as RoboCats has brought the face Hunter.
I agree. I agree. Now he is going to go with a face Hunter. And do we know their bans yet? I'm checking to see if we know what they've banned.
Don't know that we do. I will refresh the page, but I believe they've not yet submitted them.
No. So as soon as we have them, we will let you all know.
Looking forward too to seeing the Secret Paladin.
Yeah. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing that deck as well. I think that's going to be one of the hot ones. We haven't seen a lot of Paladin today other than Libram somehow. So it's going to be cool to see Secret and see if
We
it is the
haven't.
best deck in the game or not.
Yeah, there was the existence of a stealth list earlier, but I don't believe we ever saw it on the stream.
Yes. I don't think we did.
It may have been
Yeah?
mix.
Yes. I hope so. I think it was, right? I think it was
I think
banned.
so.
I don't remember who it
We also
was.
only caught the end of that match,
Yes.
as I believe the bans are in now.
Yes. So
Um,
we do have the bans. Let's take a look. What are the spicy bans this time? We have Robocats' Demon Hunter banned versus Python's Shaman has been banned. How many times has Shaman as a whole been banned, especially Quest Shaman?
really interesting. I'd love to see the
Love to see
stats on
what.
it. I could probably click on the stats page up here and check it out, but I'm not sure. It's a fair amount of bans. Shaman does have an insane win rate in this tournament so far.
Yes, I would say Shaman is probably the best class in this tournament, especially in this format, and in general. It's if it's not the best class in the game, it's like top three for sure, or
Actually,
top.
looking at just the stats for this tournament, as I believe Robocats and Python are getting into the match, Shaman is the second highest win rate in this tournament after Paladin
Oh wow, that is insane.
today.
And
Shaman
not
has
Warlock.
71.
Warlock probably far behind.
Block has a 17% win rate today.
Interesting.
As
Um,
we are getting into the game, this appears to be Face Hunter versus Shadow Priest.
yeah, and now this is usually very Face Hunter favored, just because you can outrace them. A lot of decks cannot, but you can.
Just attended there with the quick shot was very big aim shot, a good pickup for this turn, although you could just go Demon Companion Hero Power, but not a great hand for Robocat.
Yeah, I don't see this as a great start for Robocats. Just no great way to spend his mana, especially with this Leorox or Leorox, Kolek. Sorry.
Yeah, Kolek, not the option you wanted there, and Python can really start to snowball with this Twilight Deceptor now, because I was gonna say Python's taking it slow too, but Twilight Deceptor getting the card draw is quite huge.
Yes. Now, in the meantime, there's Piercing Shot. You might be able to just say, I'm going to outrace you. I kind of wanted to have seen Aimed Shot last turn, and I think this Barakodo Bane is not as good as it could have been. Um, but also, look at Mr. Python's
Oh,
hand. You have the two cards you don't want to draw in your deck. You don't want to draw Benedictus. You
can come
don't want to
down
draw
next
Nox.
turn.
Benedictus can come down, but is it that important?
I would say just as a 5/6, it's generally pretty important. Hunter's having a hard time
Yes.
clearing off the rest of these minions, and I think Benedictus could actually put in the work this game. However, just about every other card in the deck would be better.
Yes.
Listen, Prison Homunculus is actually going to really matter in clearing off this board for Python.
It certainly is. I think it makes it so annoying for the hunter. How do you deal with 5 attack?
Yeah, and how do you deal with this board that's just going to kill you next turn?
Yes.
Like, Lethal is represented on board with Void Shard in hand. This may just be it.
Yeah, this might just be game. There's just so much damage. The hunter can't kill you in 1 or 2 turns, and you have burn. You also have burn as the priest, which is not something I'm used to saying.
Off Lethal, maybe?
Um,
13. Yeah, 13 damage, but Hunter can't heal.
yes. The hunter can't really heal, but so you can just basically set up. He is going for the more board play, which is fine. I don't see it as a big problem here. Um, your opponent can deal some damage. I don't see them getting all the way to 23 though, even with that aim shot quick shot combo.
already seen a piercing shot. You know they don't have like a buffed up trampling rhino, right? So it seems pretty impossible for Robocats to hit the 23 damage.
Yes.
Though that
Yeah.
won't stop him from trying, apparently.
No. I mean, he can try getting as close as he can. He can get to basically 11, which is a lot, not gonna lie.
That was a lot of damage. Not enough. Mr. Python takes game 1 over Robocats.
Yeah. Strong start. Um, just Mr. Python showing why the priest is that good.
Really just a powerful deck, lots of snowball potential. Benedictus, like we said, actually sort of put in the work that game.
It did. It's a 5/6. I mean, it's Spitfighter. Sometimes Spitfighter's not the worst card in the game.
No, it's really not. And now Python just has to get through his Soul Demon Hunter and his Big Warrior.
Yeah. Now let's see what deck we're going to see next. Now we get the Paladin versus the
Ooh,
Big Warrior. Just messed me up
yes,
as I had
Secret
prepared the stream for
Paladin
something
into
else.
Big Warrior. It's going to be a very interesting one. I would love to see Commencement get Oh My Yogged.
Oh, that would be fascinating, wouldn't it? Although, what comes out then? I don't even want to think about that. So, we do have Warrior versus Paladin now.
Yeah, Warrior vs. Paladin is on your screen. Is Righteous Protector going to come down turn 1 for Robocats?
Yeah.
Here's a question. Do we know if they have fixed Pack Mule Spectate bug?
I don't think they have. We might
Because
crash at any moment.
Robocats is running 2 copies of Encumbered Pack Mule.
We might crash at any moment.
Which is
Hopefully.
potentially an issue. Minefield could come out here.
Yeah.
Hopefully we just never see it.
Yes.
All right, Goody 2 shields coming out. Slow starts from both players, but that's perfect for Python. Coin Barricade is a play you have. Or Minefield. Doesn't quite do the trick. Not going to kill the Goody 2 shields.
Mm-hmm.
As my Spectate has crashed again.
That is. At least for me,
back.
it is normal. I have here. So, Darren is just playing minions that are pretty annoying for his opponent to remove because all of them have exactly 4 attack. They pair really poorly against his, what's his name? Kargath. Now, this could just be a Hand of a Doll into Omayog and say, I don't know that you can beat this at this point. Or you can save Omayog for commencement, which is also a way you win.
It seems to be that Omayog is being held. I wouldn't have minded seeing it here. It does stop Brawl, but looking to just probably play a Battle Master this next turn. And this is about to be so much damage from Robocats.
This is just so much damage. At this point, yeah, you can play the Battle Master and just go crazy face. Yeah,
That's
this
on Python to trade off the Grunt. This is huge.
Yeah, he's going to need to trade it off. Probably. Oh, trading it in. Troublemaker's really good though. It is really what he wanted.
It's really good, but the problem is it good enough? Heavy Plate and Blade Storm, actually. Oh, Blade Storm's huge.
And so is Bulwark of Azzinoth. That is incoming really soon if needed.
Blade Storm really big there, Heavy Plate. Actually
Yes.
completely turned the tides of this game, and now Python's the one setting up options.
Yeah, this just went from a blowout one way to a blowout another way.
On Robocat's getting the clear in with the hammer.
Yes.
An interesting turn for Python. He does not know that this isn't Omayog, so we can't just play commencement.
Yeah. Now, next turn there can be Oh My Og, so stopping that commencement is actually going to happen. At the same time, this Kargath is making the life of the Secret Paladin so much worse, just so much harder.
Yeah, Kargath Prime is a 12-11. Seems like it might just be game over.
Yeah.
Goody two shields. There's the real Omayog. Python does know
Right.
that now. Yeah. It's a huge play. Goes all the way up to 25. Has lethal on the board. Robocat's no way to clear it. Varian will maybe get taunt.
Maybe.
Is he even gonna play it? Have to.
Yeah, you have to go with the Varian.
Pack Mule gives a taunt, of course.
Yes. Now, that's not great for us.
Actually, it doesn't say unknown. It shows both pack mules, so the bug may.
True.
be
Maybe
fixed.
did they end the bug?
Might have commencement coming in here though. This is huge. Alright, that
There's a
did nothing.
commencement into the Forge
Wow.
Fiend. Wow. Now,
Argath gets to kill another minion. This just seems unwinnable.
please don't play Pack Mule. Please don't play Pack Mule. Don't break us.
It's alright, it should be game over either way.
This is game over. I hope this doesn't break us. No, it worked.
It did
okay.
not, and that's lethal from Python in a second game.
That is a crazy lethal.
The board around there, the big warrior putting the pressure down on the aggro deck, and now Python just has to get through with Soul Demon Hunter.
That is true. Now, getting through with Soul Demon Hunter, is this Soul Demon Hunter as good as Demon Hunter has seemed to be? Demon Hunter has performed better than I expected this tournament.
Yeah, Demon Hunter's been a bit of a sleeper in this tournament. It's been really, really good. A lot of really different builds.
Yes. Just a lot of
varying possibilities. Really fun to watch, and I'm excited to see this one.
Yeah. I'm excited to see this one as well.
I would also just, for the record, I would like to correct my earlier statement. Paladin is not the best class in this tournament. The best class was Druid, which played 2 games and won them both.
Well, but also not enough samples. I wonder even what
That's a 100% win rate, Lotus.
What Druid list was brought? I'm curious. I guess people might have brought something like Gibber, or I don't know.
Could be Gibberling. However, the new Taunt Druid list.
Oh, aggro
very
Druid.
Powerful aggro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could go face with Druid.
That's just fun, Hearthstone.
An Oracle of Elune? Woo, what a broken card.
Oh, it's so much fun. Can we talk about the start for Robocats?
Yeah, that is Thaurissan on 2. Turn 2 Thaurissan. Into a matchup that doesn't love Thaurissan. Yeah, if you're a Robocats fan, you're going to be pretty happy right now.
Yeah, Cat's got the Kindling Elemental into the Coin Forge Born Wailing Vapor. Really strong start.
Yes.
The opposite side, Python, a bit slower, and I'm seeing cards I have not thought about in forever.
Yeah. Now, Chaos Strike is a good way to kill that 1-2.
I'm gonna be honest, I forgot the Demon Hunters could even run Soul Shear.
Yeah. Yeah, I forget that's a card as well. It used to be broken. Just a very playable card, and nowadays, it's not that great.
Oh, you ever Soul Shear here just to activate the Shard Shatter Mystic?
So you could do it on your on the 4/4 for next turn, and then even hero power. That's true.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Hero Power does kill. Shard Shatter Mystic now active. Marrow Slicer much more powerful with the Soul Shard afterwards. So I like this play.
Yeah. Now his opponent can just Lemma Canal Slogger here. Um, the bad part for Darren is since he's playing the Doomhammer list, the Thorison isn't an instant win. It's way more balanced in this deck.
It is a bit more balanced as Illidari Inquisitor comes into hand here. Marrow Slicer will just clean up the Canal Slugger, but still. Take Fireball, 4 mana, 6 damage, baby.
Yeah. Um, it is a way to win. It's the eternal secret for Hearthstone is if your opponent reaches 0 health, he is dead. People tend to forget that a lot.
True. Wow, Fellsteel Executioner are going to come in huge here. This
Yeah, it's going to whack
weapon's going to start dealing
face.
a lot of damage.
Yeah. Now Robocats is really one Rockbiter away. That's all he needs. Is to top deck a Rockbiter. Even what's her name? A Primal Dungeoneer would be crazy here.
That's true. This is lots of damage. Diligent Note Taker in the hand. Doom Hammer equipped. Finding Soul Fragments is what Python wants.
Yeah. I don't know
Also get
if
2 of them.
I don't think Python is playing Mali, but some people were exactly for this reason, especially in Warlock.
Mm. Like the Fellsteel Executioner here.
Yeah.
Powerful play starting to push counter pressure, but that's a Rock Biter! Oh, is it? Oh, he doesn't have the mana.
He doesn't have the mana for this turn, so the question is he dead? I don't think he's dead yet. Can he
Oh,
kill next turn?
Shouldn't be.
Like, he's going to need to heal at least 5.
Lethal.
2 healing is
Python
there.
finds 1.
He can go for I-Beam or the new heal spell. I-Beam is there.
Oh, I-Beam! You can play the second Lucky Soul Hoarder too. This is
Yeah.
huge.
This is huge. This might be exactly what Mr. Python needed to survive. 1 health right now.
Jailer too. Technically alive, there are lots of draws in Robocat's deck that just end this game, though.
Yes. Still looking for any type of burn. And that is not burn. That's game.
Robocats is just dead.
He's dead. And he knows it.
Illidari Inquisitor, Soul Shard Lapidary, so much damage from Python as he heals just enough, sees the line.
Yeah. He was 1 health out.
Illidari studies into I-Beam on the final turn there. Yeah, this was huge. Well played from Python.
Yeah. Can we just note right now that both matches in the semifinals were decided by 1 health? Now, to be fair, this was a 3-0 by 1 health, but still by 1 health.
3-0. I didn't even think about that as Python pulls out
That
another
is,
win.
it's so crazy. I did not expect it to go this way. But
Really crazy stuff.
you know who we're going to watch? You've all been asking for it. We're back to watching Dabs in the grand finals. Dabs versus Mr. Python. Mojo, tell me a little bit about this match. What are we going to see now?
Yeah, this is exciting battle of the interesting Demon Hunter builds. We get to hopefully see Dabs' Momentum Demon Hunter played again. This is the Quest Demon Hunter, Kane Sun Fury, Lion's Frenzy, playing lots of cards, drawing lots of cards. Dab pilots it so well, and I can't wait to see it again.
I really hope we don't have that ban. I don't think Python will, especially with that big warrior. Now, what are we seeing any spicy decks? We do see the mage. The mage is pretty good into Python, other than the Shadow Priest, right?
The mage is a bit of a spicy one. I gotta be honest, I don't know how it matches up into Big Warrior. I imagine it's probably somewhat favorable.
The fact that you can freeze the target sounds to me like instant win, but
Yeah, freezing
yeah,
is nice, and plus your quest reward tends to come down around the same time as commencement.
pretty much. By the time they're making big stuff, you're planning to kill them. You do have Bulwark, but Bulwark can only stop so much.
Bulwark is good in the matchup. Heavy Plate also definitely very influential. So we'll have to see. It'll be an interesting one. I don't know what the bans are going to be here, but I'm just excited to get into this final match.
Yeah, I'm preparing the screen for everyone. I'm going as fast as I can. Sorry. But okay, so Mr. Python with the Demon Hunter, Priest, Shaman, and Warrior versus Dabs with the Demon Hunter, the Mage, the Priest, and the Shaman.
Really cool. There's only one shared deck between them, despite having three shared classes.
Right? Not a
And
lot
so many
shared.
different
It's
versions of stuff, and that's what's so awesome about this meta, and especially the meta in this tournament.
yeah. I think the fact that there's no Warlock left a lot of space for things to happen. Blizzard nerf Warlock, just do it. It's going to be so much better. It's going to be a new Hearthstone once we don't have to see the Demon Seed every third match.
Or force Nozdormu into everyone's decks.
Yeah, that would also be pretty sweet, wouldn't it? But there are players, and I will name one, always just in time, who would be very mad at that. Have they started? Just making.
They have. Getting into the
Okay,
first one here, it's the Demon Hunter mirror.
awesome. We are getting into the Demon Hunter mirror. Um, this is going to be interesting because these are different Demon Hunter lists. This is Soul versus Quest. I have to think Quest is favored because the way Quest wins is playing 6-7, and the way Demon Hunter loses is by seeing you play a lot of minions. What do you think here?
Very, very interesting one. I would love to see how this plays out. Dabs just has to play all his cards quickly. It's really about how
Right,
quickly you can complete the quest and get to Lion's Frenzy.
right. I wonder. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this gets with all of this, like, just how quick can you actually pull the combo? What we saw last time was that this quest, Demon Hunter, was insane and got the Giants on turn like 4, sometimes even earlier than that. Can he do it? He does have Coin Glide. He might actually
And
just go
Glide
for it.
could be nice. Although it's got to be said, Dabs hasn't been much of a Glide gamer.
True, he has not been all about that Glide.
He's definitely preferred acrobatics to Glide in most situations,
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to go for
I think.
acrobatics.
He could go for it next turn, but this is actually a scarily fast start from Python.
Yeah, Alacrity is pretty good.
Alacrity is really cool. Marrow Slicer and Fury coming down soon too is a ton of damage, and Ab's a bit slow on the quest so far. Glide
Glide is happening early, so
will come out.
with this Glide, this makes the Demon Hunter really looking really good, and especially with what has been drawn. Everything draws a card.
You could just play all of these.
Oh yeah, next turn we're going to see this quest done. One way or another, this quest is ending. At least the second part of it.
You could potentially complete the whole quest next turn too, because all of these cards could draw cards that draw more cards, and also these all cost 0 mana. However, Vilefiend Trainer.
Yeah, Vilefiend Trainer is an interesting choice. It's board presence.
Putting in the work here.
Yeah, it's not what he wanted to see. Now these sigil runners are just sigil runners plus double jump.
Acrobatics.
Now you can do Spectral Sight and Acrobatics and then not finish the quest, or you can wait one more turn and finish it. Lion's Frenzy coming
Not
in
finishing the
hot.
quest this turn.
No, but there's a board now. Python has the board, and it's an annoying board. Now you could also go Selena here.
Ooh. Yeah, Star Student Selena really cool. Can shuffle back into Lion's Frenzy or the Acrobatics. Acrobatics there are two of, however. So
Yeah.
unfortunate.
The Lion's Frenzy isn't that much though. There's no Blade Flurry. I'm not able to pronounce anymore. It's way too late. I've been saying the name of the giant that I refuse to say again, and yeah,
Haven't seen one
no, we have not, thankfully.
yet. Give me an Ironbound Brute for Lotus' sake. Assuming the
uh,
board clears in this deck, not running any Immolation Auras or anything. Demon Slayer Cartridge comes down, but it's just too late.
yeah, and with that, Dabs concedes his first match. It's a win
Wow.
for Mr. Python.
Turn 5 lethal with no weapons in Soul Demon Hunter. What is going on today, Lotus?
Well, this was a spicy case where basically the other Demon Hunter couldn't do what he wanted to do. Just lost because of that.
That's pretty easy to fall behind on board when you're really not playing a minion bigger than a Crimson Sigil runner.
That is true. Now, what are we seeing? We're seeing the Shadow Priest versus the Demon Hunter. So, how does this fare?
Yeah, so this is really interesting. I think it could end up being kind of similar. Ironbound Brute is the key card, just like
Yeah, it's going to
in
be.
that last matchup. Dabs is really, really looking to just cycle through as quick as he can, find those taunts.
Yes. Now, can you play Giants fast?
I've been trusting Dabs' ability to play fast.
Yeah, he has been pretty good at it, hasn't he? And he is going to end the first part of the quest on turn 2.
Oh, he may not. There's a cult neophyte that could come down from Mr. Python here. Really disrupt this whole thing.
That is true, but this means Illidari Studies probably comes in.
Play Illidari Studies, but it's not very good. I would like to see Jailer Hero Power kill the neophyte.
Sure. You can't really let the board stick for that long, can you?
Oh, and if you're not really going off this turn, you might as well hold
Yeah. Yeah.
Illidari Studies off. You can wait till next turn. It basically costs 0.
Now, Mancrick, always a good card in this deck. It just does so much in the priest, especially when you get Thrive. Now, Kurtrus
It's huge,
could
and
be
actually
really
importantly,
good.
Mr. Python runs 2 copies of Thrive.
Yeah.
Ooh. This isn't great, but that's 2 brutes.
That is 2 brutes. Next turn, there's going to be an unpassable board.
Yeah, unfortunate that he couldn't get them
Yeah.
out this turn.
He couldn't, but next turn, this is going to be crazy with that Spectral Side. Any draw he gets is just going to be so amplified.
That's the goal, but there is absolutely Soul Fragments.
Yeah.
Soul Fragments make this so good. Double jump, play it. Oh, Persistent Paddler, double jump. These are free.
Yeah, you're going to play 2 free giants and finish the quest.
Yeah.
Now, do you have enough time?
I think you do. I trust Dabs. He's playing fast.
Yeah? Did he even get that philosophy?
Oh, gets a philosophy. Does he play it? No, he didn't get to play it. Does he hold back an Ironbound Brute? Maybe.
Nope.
Doesn't even play it. You don't need to. It doesn't matter in this matchup.
Well, I do think it matters, to be honest, but we are going to see an enormous merchant right now just dropped on the board. We're going to see likely raise that into the merchant if there's enough time.
Interesting. Maybe looking for another Mancrick?
Yeah, it's burn. Mancrick is a source of burn. I like
Very interesting play, and as you said, philosophy was actually probably pretty relevant.
Yeah, not getting that philosophy is really major.
It's just like kills next turn, right?
That's the hope. I think for Dabs fans, he needs to kill next turn. There's no way he can wait.
Doesn't have anything over the top. Hasn't drawn Mancrook's Wife, no Thrive in the Shadows, not even a Void Shard. Dabs should have this in the
Nothing.
bag on the next turn.
Yeah, I wonder what if Dabs can get enough draw here. This is over. Now, there's still a bit you need to care of.
Chaos Strike, I think it's possible. Oh, Fury too.
You can go Fury first, Chaos Strike next, then go Glide. I hope the
And then the
Glide gets you
Glide.
there.
I don't think it's quite enough, but it is a fair amount.
Yeah.
That's what, 11, 12 damage? Put him down to 2?
I like it. Leave him low enough that you don't know if he has a way. And this seems like game, right? You can win with Tusk Piercer hero power right now, and he cannot play taunts.
There's no counter lethal.
No counter lethal. Nope.
And Tusk Piercer was such a huge draw.
Yeah, that's
just it. Dabs wins.
That's a win for Dabs. Just with a crazy Demon Hunter. I still don't get that Demon Hunter, I'll be honest.
It's such a hard deck to pilot and a hard deck to watch too, but we're going to 1-1 Demon Hunter victories all around.
That is crazy.
As I refresh my page here, 1-1.
1-1. Now the Demon Hunters
decks
are out.
Yeah, remaining decks are Aggro Shadow Priest from both sides. The non-Doomhammer, Whack-A-Knoll Shaman from Python, which is being played into the Quest Mage from Dabs.
Interesting. As a reminder, the Shaman and the Warrior, the Big Warrior, we're not going to see the Big Warrior again.
This is a pretty nutty hand from Dabs.
Oh, yeah. Again, saving the quest for turn 2 quest into Brain Freeze if needed. The bad part is he didn't get to play Rune Door, but I think he's fine with that.
Not necessary. Your Arcane spell will probably end up being Enchantress Flow, so you're never really sad about this.
Oh, yeah. Agreed.
Ooh, Ebbs, this is the nuts.
Pretty much. This is a really good start for Dabs. Just has the Refreshing Spring Water and the flow.
Some kind of first flame draw here. Ignite draw?
Ignite into Brain Freeze is quest part 1 done.
And Rune Orb can be played too. We'll start getting that second one. Maybe you can discover a good frost spell.
Maybe a secret or honestly just Brain Freeze again.
Oh, Fire Sail.
Yeah.
So huge in this matchup too. Spring Water on the next turn and such a slow start from Python. I find it hard to believe the Dabs isn't just going to run away with this.
Now, he does have Thaurissan, but is Thaurissan enough to win?
It's a 5/5 right now.
Yeah, while the Mage has another flow.
Ooh.
You know,
gotta play it.
You just have to go devolving into
yeah.
Opting for the trade. But I really want to see that flow soon.
Was a good card. Fire Ellie, also a good card. Really starting to pack a punch, and actually Python's slow start is turning into something.
Yeah. Turns out he has a lot of cards that can go face. And that is one of the ways you win. He does. Now, I kind of wanted to take the Guild Trader, because the Guild Trader was really good here. The Guild Trader would have actually enabled Guild Trader Combustion to clear the board.
That's true. You could actually have...
Alakir comes down.
Air Sail? I think you could have done Combustion instead.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Now the winds obey his command because there's no freeze spell. Probably trading the fire
There's
sale
not.
right now.
There's no way to kill this. Oh, you can kill it with fire sale, right? Ignite fire
You can do ignite combustion.
sale kills it, or ignite combustion, because that was a 3 damage ignite.
Yeah.
Ignite combustion still needs to find a frost spell and looking really low.
Yeah, now just dropping minions. That's what Mr. Python is going to do as his way to win. If you're not going to beat me, like, this is the point where you should have killed me already. I'm not dead. I'm just going to do stuff here. And just fire
So
spells.
huge. Maybe can clear some stuff off.
Yeah, but this is not
Frost
helping him
spell.
finish the spell. The quest,
But it's
where are
really
fire
not.
spells?
Quest completion's priority number 2 to not dying right now.
That's true, but if you don't finish the quest, you're going to die, and you are dead. Just dead. That hammer
Wow.
is enough burst to kill the mage. Turns out when the mage doesn't draw everything he needs, even with double flow, it is a loss nowadays.
And we thought this start was so nutty from Dabs, but Python with the slower start really coming in with a lot of big burst damage. Fire Ellie,
Yeah.
Alec here, huge win.
I think the big problem with the mage is sometimes you just don't get card draw. And if you don't get card draw, you're in trouble.
True.
Now, we
Was a
have a.
spring water that game too? I don't know.
Yeah, there was. Now, we are going for the final match, or not the final, the final mirror that we're going to see today or tonight, and that is Priest versus Priest.
Yeah, none of this nice Jewish owl control stuff either. These are Shadow
No,
Priest
this is
gamers.
face. Just gonna go face with Priest and see what happens.
I like Void Touch Attendant with Guardian Og Merchant.
Yeah, agreed. Protect your minion. Um, Can't even just trade in Guardian Arc Merchant actually.
Can we consider the fact that we could potentially see 4 Void Touch Attendants on the board at the same time this game?
Oh, that would be fantastic. Also, everyone would die.
Right?
Literally
That would be
everyone
very
would die.
funny. Yeah, the game would be over immediately.
Yeah. Um, Void Touch Attendant is a good card, but the more of them you have, the more chances you die.
This is true. Interested to see how board. I like this.
Yeah.
Especially with Kazakus for reload, I think that this play from Dabs is really strong. Mancrick gonna come down for Python, still dealing
Yes.
increased damage from the Void Touch Attendant, but a Void Touched Attendant. But important to note that Dabs is dealing the increased damage too.
Yeah, and you know what's really insane here? Just going for Kazakus for 5. Maybe you can get the double. Double Rush is still one of the most powerful combos you can get.
Yeah.
This is not Double Rush. This
Though.
Poisonous deal 3. Which is pretty good.
Wow. Yeah, I don't hate it. This Raised Dead, however, is huge. Void Touch Attendant, Twilight Deceptor, great Raised Dead options.
Yeah. The problem is just in this particular matchup, is that enough to make you win? This is getting pretty crazy,
Not be enough.
and
This
both are going very aggressive. This is 4 damage to yourself.
and Guardian Og Merchant coming in huge here, protecting the taunt minion. This is so rough. Gotta play the Golem, I think.
Oh yeah, the Golem is coming in, just trying to kill something. Hopefully that Golem hits the Mancrick. It doesn't.
Not
It got
quite.
the worst target. Um,
Our
Now,
Cool Terran Chaplain does come out to
yeah,
protect it.
yeah, you can still get it void sharded. How do you close the game? The question for Mr. Python is,
Hard.
you have more face damage than your opponent. Yes, you're likely going to win in a bit. Is this enough to close the game? It
Wow,
looks
you
like
gotta
he's
just
betting.
push it all face. It might be. If Dabs can't find a void shard of his own, which I don't even know. Oh, he doesn't run. He runs Kazakis.
That's true. It there's no
Dabs can't
healing.
heal. So unless Dabs has two turn, Python should just win.
Yeah, I don't see the two turn right now.
I don't think there is two turn.
Well, he can get another void touch somehow.
But somehow get another void touch attendant. I think he's probably just dead to Python here.
I agree. I think this might be Python's win.
This might be the series.
Yeah, is this how it ends? Oh wait, Ilusha.
Oh my god. Oh, you have to play it. Oh. Oh, he's playing it. He's playing it. He's playing it. He's playing it.
Okay.
Gives him another turn with the void touch attendant. This is so huge.
Also, the Raise
Is
Dead
it
is
enough?
kind of unplayable. Playing Raise Dead
Completely
means it's
unplayable.
over.
Is this enough damage?
Raise Dead
And
for
anything from
4.
his minions?
You can kill one of
Bug
them.
Merchant.
You can
Bug
kill 2
Merchant
of the
kills something.
minions. Your opponent doesn't have the Void Shard.
Oh,
I don't want to do
ping.
the math, but I don't actually know.
Ping Og Merchant. I don't know. It's not enough.
Is
Is
this
it?
enough?
It's not enough if Void Touch is dead. Abs has to get some miracle draw.
So he's 2 damage off, so Horror would be lethal.
Oh. That's not it. I think
It's
he's
not it.
2 off. Oh my god, Dabs with the almost
That was so close.
hero play, but Python brings it back with a miracle Raise Dead. Mr. Python is
Oh,
going to be
that
the
was
winner of
crazy.
this Maniac Monday.
Mr. Python, wow. From MVP over all series to the winner of Maniac Monday. That is
A
crazy.
huge congrats to Python here.
Yes. Just congratulations. And congratulations to Dabs as well. Dabs just star performer. I really want to learn that Demon Hunter deck. Whenever Dabs wants to teach me, I'm in. I'm very curious to learn more. That being said, shall we get Mr. Python
Series
in
there
here?
too. Nice to see another comeback win. I would love to.
Let me invite him for an interview.
Nice to see another comeback win from Python too.
Yeah,
Back from 1 health earlier, 2 health this time.
right? That was crazy. Just
Sort
especially
of
that
his thing.
Ilusha. That Ilusha changed the whole thing right at the end.
God, such crazy moments. Crazy moments, crazy top decks all tournament long. I mean, I can't believe how many exciting games we've had.
Yes. I am bringing Python right now. Just updating the screen. 1 minute. We will add Mr. Python so we can ask them questions really, really soon. But wow, what an end to this Nas night, Mojo. How did it feel for you?
This was great. Really so much fun. I know we've had technical issues. I know there's been some audio issues as well as our friend list bugs, but really just such a fun tournament.
I laughed the whole time. I hope there weren't too many technical issues. They happen, I know, and especially friends list is always annoying. The audio thing, I hope I was able to fix everything. If any of you did not hear me, I apologize. I tried my best. But this was our tournament, and I hope you all enjoyed it. A lot of crazy action, a lot of really well played matches, even in Nos mode.
Yeah, really fun stuff. Just goes to show you the depth of the talent pool in THL. I mean, we have so many good players.
Yes. How many GMs are playing right now? We have multiple GMs playing.
Yeah.
And that's a normal thing in pro.
Insane stuff.
I'm adding the winner of the tournament right now. Yo, congratulations, Mr. Python, for winning this edition of Maniac Mondays.
Thank you very much.
This was amazing. How did it feel for you?
It felt good. I just crafted uh, the two attendants for the priest deck, and
Sure.
then another one of the epics for the big warrior deck. So I told Diamond before the tournament started that I better win because 1,200 dust got invested into this.
Yes.
So it was good to win.
That's a very valid argument.
Yeah.
Were you now? Let's start with the big warrior. Why big warrior?
Okay. So my hero team, my captain is Geranium Battle, and
Sure.
he put in a list or a tweet. I think it was from like Liza's one of the GMs, or and it was a big warrior list,
Sure.
and he was like, "Oh, I went 7-3 with this," and so I was like, "Oh, that looks cool. I'll play it." I like big warrior. Warrior's kind of bad in general right now, so it's kind of good to give like the bad classes some play. And
Fair.
it's good to have an environment like this, which is pretty casual, where you can test some stuff out.
Oh yeah. Pretty casual, but the competition was fierce. You faced some
Oh yeah,
crazy players.
yeah, for sure. But just because the competition was casual doesn't mean the players I played against were. I played some really insane THL players. So
Yeah. Um. Now, what was the deck you were most afraid to face? Other than bans. I mean, we saw you ban quite a diverse array. A lot of Quest Shaman bans. Was Quest
yeah,
Shaman the best deck into what you were bringing?
yeah, I think so. I think I banned every quest shaman I saw. I think it maybe only one person didn't bring it.
Yeah.
Um, I think it was definitely the best into what I brought. I brought a lot of like board focused decks other than the big warrior.
Sure.
So I Quest Shaman does pretty good into those. So I just didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah. And now something I want to ask you is about that priest. We
Hmm.
saw you get really explosive with the priest, and we know a lot of people are playing that priest, including probably one of the best Hearthstone players right now, Gabby, playing a lot of Shadow Priest. So what I want to ask you is, are you on the Shadow Priest hype train?
This is my first time playing the deck. Like I
Fair?
said, I just crafted the attendance,
Yes.
and it felt pretty good, honestly. It
Yeah.
does some really good things. And I played the round before. I played against a face hunter, and
Sure.
like I was going second, which is usually pretty bad against face hunter, no matter the matchup. But
Yes.
going like one drop coin tour guide and then killing their one drop just felt so good. And like I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that just ended the game on the spot.
It
So
turned.
the Shadow Priest does some good stuff. I like the deck.
Yeah. Plus, aggro is fun to play, right?
Yes, it is. Of course.
Yeah.
Some
It's
people will tell you differently though.
they just don't know what they're saying. So let me ask you about that DH. That was Soul
Mhm.
DH. Where did the logic
It
for Soul
was.
DH come from?
Um, so earlier this week, I was kind of just thinking about decks, and I Soul DH is a deck that was like it was really good when all the support first came out, and it was a deck that I played a ton of with pretty good success. And I always liked the archetype. It kind of faded because obviously it was kind of like a one expansion thing, didn't really get support further than in what it got.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured that into the meta, which has like warlocks that are already hurting themselves a lot, and like the mystic is good into some of the board flood decks like shaman and hunter. I figured it would be an okay bring. Like it's probably worse than Death Rattle DH, but I like the archetype more. And
Sure.
also Lotus, I played the same deck minus Nas on Sunday in my hero match that was on stream.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
just
did.
just to kind of throw people off. It's something different. It's fun.
That's true. It is a deck that honestly it performs really well every time I see it. The time I played it, I'll tell you it was awful, but I'm not a good player, so maybe that justifies it.
I think you're a great player, Lotus. Maybe
Um,
it's just the deck. The deck it's really not good anymore. I would say don't play it, but it's fun.
I'm sure. Yeah.
It caught a good matchup in the finals into Dabs' DH deck that kind of just drew cards and didn't do that much. They missed their big demons, which helps a lot, obviously. So they
Yes.
kind of just sat there, and I was able to build up a good board.
Yeah. You kind of played aggro DH with a very weird aggro
Yeah,
DH.
right. Yeah, basically.
um. Now, I have a few closing questions, but I want to ask Mojo, do you have any questions you want to ask Python before I go for our final round of questions?
Yeah, I just have one. How did it feel to have so many amazingly close matches? I think you had a comeback from one
Hmm. Yeah.
health,
So
comeback
my
from two health on the final game there. Was it ever like really intense?
yeah, you'd always feel it in THL matches when it's really close, and like in any tournament when it's really close, you get the adrenaline pumping. My very first match of the tournament, actually, I played Mick. We had like really serious friends list problems, but when we finally got it going, I went down 2-0, and I had to reverse sweep a control warrior with my fairly aggro lineup, so that felt pretty good too. But yeah, just a lot of close matches, and it speaks to the quality of players in THL too. Just a lot of
Mm,
insane players.
yeah. Now, Mr. Python, my final two questions for you. The first one is, how does it feel to play a tournament without Warlock? Is it a lot better? Is Hearthstone a better
Yeah.
game without Warlock right now?
Uh, it's really frustrating to play against the six demons warlock. Like
Yeah.
when they get their cards, like the free admission on 3, it just feels like you have no chance anymore.
Yes.
Especially when you're playing something slower.
Yeah.
I think with my lineup, maybe I would have been okay if I had seen it.
Right.
But I don't even know if I would have taken the chance, even with the APM that's required.
Right.
But yeah, it definitely feels good to not play against warlocks. I don't particularly find warlock fun. I know
Fair.
some people do, but it is nice to have an experience without warlock for once.
That's
It's
true.
dominant in both game modes too. In wild, it's probably even worse than it is in standard. I'm in the wild series, and it's just everywhere. So it's nice. It's refreshing to see no warlocks for a change.
Sure. Now I have one final question for you, and that is, anyone you want to thank, anything you want to say, any thoughts, anything you would like to share, Python. The floor is all yours. And one last time, congratulations on winning the tournament.
Thank you. I do have to shout out Geranium. Um, I had proving to him that Big Warrior is good, and also that Soul DH is good, because there were
Fair.
some questions when I first introduced the deck list, but I think I answered those today.
That's fair. Yeah. Now, I just want to take this final time to thank everyone who participated. This was an amazing tournament. I had a great time casting. I know Mojo did as well. Um,
Yeah.
it was just so much fun. I want to thank all the players, and I want to thank very special thanks for Desharmo for putting this together. I know I was calling on him to make Maniac Mondays a thing again on stream, and I will keep doing that every time I'm on stream with him. But he did an amazing job organizing this. So just a huge thank you
Yeah,
to Desharmo. Um,
I second that for sure.
Yeah.
Ducharme, he's great.
And before we sign off, a huge thank you to Lotus Knight as well for opping and running this whole stream.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure to do that. I love doing these tournaments. So we're looking forward to the next one. And what is the next one? I believe it was posted on some Discord what it is going to be. Um, I don't actually know right now. Let's see. Um, I don't have the exact list, but it is going to be posted really soon. I'm sure Desharmo's planning it out. So please sign up. It's fun. You get to play on stream. And as always, if you want to play on stream, you can always DM me. We're always looking for great matches like these or any matches. All matches are welcome. We promise a friendly atmosphere where you get to learn something. We get to have fun watching you and casting you. So come on down and play on stream. That said, that is it for us tonight. One more time, thank you for everyone, organizers, players, and casters. We'll see you next show. Tomorrow, Hearthstanders starts at 9 p.m. Desharmo, Ron Mexico, NHL and JFan, aka Marty B, and the one and only Corridon are going to be there. Or Corrodon, I never know how to say his name. So, we'll see you then. Have a good night.